Hello, everybody, and welcome to Time Sphere, where we have timely discussions that are never on time. Scott, it has been roughly 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks since the last time we recorded. By the time this is going up, it'll be like a week since the last episode that you listeners and viewers at home have seen. So, not a lot of time has passed for you, unless you were watching the last episode being like, why are they talking about the Xbox Direct in like the second week of February?
We had a whole new publisher showcase that we can
We had
talk
two,
about since
technically,
then.
because we're not going to talk about the Nintendo
That's
Direct just
that's
because
true. The direct did happen, yeah.
that one was mostly just like Bethesda stuff, and like it was a partner showcase, so obviously there's not like a ton of
Yeah,
new stuff getting shown there that is like super crazy. But yeah,
right.
we're just that's like 2 weeks old at this point. We're not There wasn't anything in there that like really stood out to me in terms of we need to talk about
Sure.
that. So uh yeah, I don't know. What have you been playing other than too much college football, Scott?
I I have been playing too much college football, as I told you before the show. I mistakenly stayed up until 1 a.m. playing Road to Glory. I started as a 4-star linebacker. I started as a 4-star, got to 5-star by the time I graduated high school. Went to Oregon. I was like, Oregon's finally going to win a national championship. We got to the title game against Georgia, and our offense just let us down. And then the coach left, and I was like, well, I'm leaving too. So I went to LSU, and that's where we've left off. But I've also been playing Arc Raiders. That's what I've been playing a decent amount of still. Um, I have got a lot of progress done with, like, for me, it's not like getting quests done and collecting certain items. It's I like upgrading all the different workbenches.
Mm.
And I finally got I believe a 5th surveyor vault. So I was able to do the medical bench up to tier 3. I've got weapon bench at tier 3, gear bench, explosive bench. A couple are still at 2. I think like the refiner, which lets you like upgrade materials, and the sort of like utility station, which is more for like various like really niche items like barricades and zip lines and things like that. But really, I've got it. I want to get to a point where it's like if I die and I lose all my stuff, I can easily remake that stuff and have all the material. So I think next is just like doing more quests, doing the like expedition blueprint, which is kind of like how they do like New Game Plus. Not really New Game Plus, but it's like you can do like you can essentially do like it's kind of like prestiging in
Yeah, I was
Call of
about to say
Duty,
it
where
sounds
like
like Prestige. Yeah.
it's like Prestige in Call of Duty. And I'm still playing Hades 2, and I finally beat the boss Kronos for the first time. I beat him for the first time. So that felt good. Now I can kind of like now it's like, all right, let's get back into the loop. Let's learn some new weapons, because I usually do I do the sickles that like have the essentially the boomerang come back and forth, and have the little heavy attack where you teleport behind someone and start doing that's been my go-to. Um as well as the thing that gives you like armor for each encounter. But yeah, I've been sort of rotating between those. We've still been playing Rivals, obviously a bit of college football. Um, yeah, aside from that, um, just trying to think. I tried a little bit more Deadlock since we last talked. I did a couple more the street brawls. I played a full game with some of my folks from my Counter Strike Discord. They're getting the Deadlock, so I hopped over and played a game with them. Um, it's it's not really pulling me the same way games like Rivals and Raiders are. But I am definitely down to keep trying more.
Is it the
I
minutia
think
of
just
it? Is it like the MOBA element, like where it's like just a lot of like oversight, or
it's a lot of the oversight where it's like, I mostly just because like I'm very like I just need to suck it up and learn stuff, and this is one thing that I've always been kind of like bad with, and like I played so many hours of Counter Strike. Like if you look at Steam, I have like almost over 1,700 hours in Counter Strike, and I still don't know like the majority of basic smoke lineups for like the core maps. Just because it's like I can't be bothered to learn
you
it.
just play the game. It's like you have the technical expertise for a lot of it, but there's some elements of a game that you actually have to sit down and learn before you can claim to like not even master it, because it's the same with fighting games. It's like I can pick up and play any fighting game and I'll probably be better than
Mm,
most people at any fighting game just because I play so many different fighting games and I play so much of that genre. But
Mhm.
when it comes to me going to like if I join a local or if I play against my
Mhm.
buddies in like one of our fighting game media monthlies or something, uh, at that point I am playing against people that spend a lot of time not just playing fighting games, but also that is a
Mastering
joy to them
specific
to
ones.
grind.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because you know me, I enjoy playing multiplayer games with friends. I enjoy playing tactical games. I enjoy playing like action games. I do not necessarily go into those games expecting or wanting to just sit there and grind and learn and improve endlessly to get better all the time. Like I'll improve incrementally over time just by playing more, but I haven't labbed Tekken 8 since the last time I entered one of those monthly tournaments when I was like, okay, I gotta not get my ass beat 0-2 every time, which happens in most of those tournaments because I don't spend a lot of time labbing. I just play with my like I'll hop in lobbies with friends and play that, or I'll hop online every once in a while to test a new character out or whatever. But yeah, the Deadlock feels like one of those games for sure.
It is definitely one of those games. And that's one thing that kind of didn't get me away from League, but why it never really stuck with me.
Mm.
Well, actually, well, it was for League. It's a mix between that kind of minutia, that having to learn items, item builds, like what the progression for leveling up abilities are, and then like sometimes they'll like, and I think they've added like more because then they also have like talent trees that are specific to each
Yeah,
champion, and there's like 100 plus champions. So that all plus like the actual MOBA, like quick and like just
you still
like
have to have
I
the technical. Yeah, you still have the map knowledge. You
yes,
still have to have objective knowledge. You still have to have like
yes,
laning knowledge and
yep.
like communication with your team. Especially, did you see they're adding team chat in the new update? In a new update coming out
For
for League.
Deadlock,
No,
oh,
for
for
League.
League, for they haven't had team
No, I'm
chat in
talking
League
like
of
for team
Legends.
comms, as in like voice chat,
Oh,
like built in.
they haven't had that.
No,
That's not
not
been
that I
built
know of.
in.
They had team chat. Team
I
chat.
guess the league fan base or league player base maybe a little too toxic. Then maybe that's for their own good. But
That's
I
just
don't know.
MOBAs in
Maybe
general. Like MOBAs,
I guess yeah.
it,
I can't imagine Dota voice chat is like
I haven't played Dota in forever, but when I played Dota a lot in high school, I remember I've been called many a thing I could not repeat across multiple different servers playing with friends in other regions. Uh,
yeah.
I've heard slurs in probably 12 different languages just
Yeah. Well,
running down mid.
at least with Deadlock, the basics of like shooting
Yeah,
are
it does still have that element to it.
yeah,
I played it back when it was like first releasing in like that the closed alpha
yeah.
period when people could actually talk about it for the first time. So I know the general of it, and that was before the new Street Brawl mode, which is like the ARAM stuff, which I do want to
Yeah.
give a go
And
because that seems like my cup of
we
tea.
should. I think one. I mean, the biggest thing, and I said this when I was playing because I was checking the dates. Like the last I had played Deadlock before, like just a couple weeks ago, was like I want to say July 2024. I believe this was right before or around the time where I think it was The Verge were the ones to kind of blow the lid on
It
it.
was that
Um,
was like right around the time when you started being able to invite people, but it was still don't talk about it. Yeah,
and it was kind of a, it was, and that ended up being a big talking point because it was like it was a thing where it's like that like you didn't have to agree to like not talk about it, but it was still. But some people were like, you probably still should have blown the lid on it because like it was sort of like everyone was kind of operating in good faith. I just remember it being like a big talking point amongst game media. But yeah, we
well
should try it a little bit and
before
do some
I
street brawl.
yeah, I'll touch back on that in a second, but I'm going to skip ahead to one of the topics down in our like other section that we kind of do towards the end, where it's like, just a heads up for people, all of Resident Evil 9 is leaked before launch.
Mm,
Like it is out there. Spoilers are everywhere. People are sharing clips. It
hmm.
looks like it was an embargoed copy for media, so someone's getting Capcommed.
Someone's getting Capcomed.
Uh, and this, I don't know how many times I have to
Didn't
explain
didn't
this to people. Yeah, go ahead.
didn't mutual friend of ours get Capcomed? We talk about
Probably, I think so. Yeah.
this. But know who I think if you know who we're talking about.
Look, people don't understand like how privileged. Like, so we
They're ruthless.
yeah. Oh
they,
yeah.
they're they have a whole investigative team. They're
Well,
just
not only that, they also like depending on like what like gets shared around, like they have ways to check whose code it is. Like it's not like you have the code that they give you for the game. It's not like they just give it to you and then it's off in the wild. They know who they gave that code to and what
Yeah,
accounts redeemed
yeah,
that code. So you're not scot free.
yeah, yeah.
But the point of this is we had this conversation. We were talking a little bit before we were recording about getting like requesting codes for some games maybe that are coming up or whatever. And both Scott and I, because I'm not necessarily in games media as heavily as I am, as heavily as I used to be, especially on the review side, and Scott's in PR now. So we're talking about like the logistics of requesting a code. And I very rarely go out of my way to request a code for a game if I'm not going to talk about a game. I feel bad because I still haven't been able to do more than like 6 hours of Demon School. And I did get a code for that. And that came out in like late November. And I still haven't had a chance to really like do anything around that. And I feel bad. I feel really bad when I get a code for a game and then I don't get to do anything with the game, which typically when I was at one of like either when we were at Dot or when I was working at Sports Illustrated, or anything in between, you're not always the one that gets to make the call. Like you ask for the code and then you try and pitch it and then it doesn't always end up working out, which sucks. But typically they understand that more than if you're just asking for codes to get a code. I don't do that shit. If I'm not going to provide something for the product I'm asking for, then I'm probably not going to ask for the product and I'll just buy the product myself. Because then I would want to support the devs. So that's what I did with like Romeo is a Dead Man. I bought that. Karen bought that. I probably could have requested codes for those ahead of launch and done a review or something, but didn't have time. Still between gigs in terms of where something like that would land. So I'm just going to buy it because I want to support those devs. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, because when we were at Dot, or at least I was. I mean, when I would request, I wouldn't request games from the PR company or from like a PR for the publisher. I would just buy the game and assume and like and obviously I would talk to Dot and Gamers about this. I would get it reimbursed depending on the game. But
I should have done that.
I
never did that because I always forgot.
Never did that.
Well,
I did that. I did that for every game.
Well, first off, they never reimbursed me for they never reimbursed me for anything that they told me they were going to reimburse me for. So at the point by the end of my stay, I was done. Like I was just like, whatever, man. Who cares? Because the only things I bought were like, what games? Scott, you know me. Most of the games that I was covering, they were like, hey, we want you to focus on the things you're covering, or I had to pitch the thing that I was covering anyways. So it's like, what am I going to do? Like fighting games, whatever. I can get a code for most fighting games because I'm pretty well connected in the fighting game space. But it's like Nintendo's not going to give me a Pokemon. I bought Pokemon. I bought both Pokemon games. I bought Scarlet and Violet and the DLC. So, and I didn't get reimbursed for shit. And I wrote 100+ articles for that game at launch.
So what I got reimbursed for? I want to say New World. New World definitely.
Yeah, you definitely. I remember you talking about that one.
New World for sure. Gray Zone Warfare. Let's see. What was I just had one. I just had one in my brain. Probably like the month of WoW after like we lost some WoW writers. I was like, oh,
you mean when they fired all the WoW writers and still wanted to write about WoW?
Yeah, that's what I mean. When they got
wasn't it you and Mike? Didn't Mike have to get back on the WoW beat, or didn't Mike have to get on WoW or something? I can't remember who else.
I think that was that. No, that was after Mike got let go.
Yeah, it was because Mike was helping out. Yeah,
Mike was doing a big chunk of the WoW stuff, and I'm like, well, we still want WoW coverage, and I was like, if only there was a guy we just had here.
Dang, that's crazy, man. Maybe
anyway.
That's like, oh yeah, these articles always do really well for us. I'm like, cool, that's great. Maybe you shouldn't have fired the guy who was doing those articles for you every couple weeks. Like that's crazy.
I think a Call of Duty I got reimbursed. No Rest for the Wicked, definitely, because there was like a big push for that.
That's still one of the dumbest codes I ever got.
There was a big push for that, and it didn't pan out. And I was like, oh boy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've told my horror story about Hades 2 early access on the pod before, where that was just like,
have you?
If I haven't, I'll get into that in a sec. But the stupidest code that I ever got through Dot, because they provided a code for me for it, was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remake, the 2020 game.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you giving me a code for this? What do you expect me to do with this? When have I written about COD? Like they didn't ask me to write about COD. They were just like, here you go. And I was like, just out of the blue. I'm like, is this? Do you want me to write about this? Do I need to write about this? Like, you've got
So that was before I was like really entrenched and like before I was full time. Because I remember I bought that, so they definitely didn't give me a code. And I had just gotten there, and it wasn't until like maybe like a year or so later that I was like doing COD stuff way more consistently. Like I was like back when DMZ was a thing for like 2 years. I was just a DMZ guy. I was just doing all those things and like not progress like in terms of like progression, like the way I've been progressing in Arc Raiders, definitely not progressing the like as much as like in DMZ,
mm.
yet still writing like a boatload of guides about it.
Well,
But
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
here's the progression of what my quote unquote like esports writing career was. So out of like I needed a internship one year for for college, and so I saw someone apply like asking for someone to write about like CS2 or CS:GO, and I was like it was like CS:GO betting, and I was like I I don't even think I don't remember if I applied for it or they reached out to me, and I don't know why because I had no experience writing about CS online at all. And so they reached out to me for that, and I was like, sure. I got paid for it and somehow got it accredited as an internship. So big win. And then that was like spring 2018, I want to say. And so fast forward to like September 2018, maybe it was 2017. I don't even remember at this point. But fast forward, Ben London at the time, who was Gamers like head of sales or partnerships or whatever, reached back out to me. It was like, hey, we have another partnership with a company, because this was through a different company working with Dot. So I wasn't working directly with Dot at the time. They reached out and said, hey, we have a direct partnership at Dot for someone that is doing Dota stuff. Do you write about Dota? Because I've seen you talk about Dota. I was like, yeah, sure. So I did that, and then I just never left. I got yelled at by Kevin because I was still using like the advanced, like the premium rates for like an extra month
Oh,
at one point because I was
that's
like a
not your
premium.
fault.
No, they never told me. No,
Yeah.
the funniest thing. So fast forward, God, 20 when I got brought on. Once Kevin corrected me for those
Yes.
prices,
Mhm.
until they changed freelance prices to the different system in like
Mhm.
right before we got brought on full time.
Yeah.
I did not have the updated freelancer form. They never sent me new shit. So I was just sending in my own invoice with like the outdated invoice thing for like the
And
rates for whatever the rates
just
were.
sending.
Yeah, they were just paying me for it. And then when we got brought on full time, there was that year when I wasn't full time still. Like I was getting paid
Right.
full time salary, but I wasn't like getting benefits or whatever.
Yeah.
Because God, that company was so poorly run. Also, shout out to the
Yeah.
Escapist. We're not the AI Shame Corner is going to be all over the place. So we might not even do it this week. But shout out to
Mhm.
the Escapist for pivoting to AI content instead of just fucking. The industry is cooked, dude.
Stupid.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had no updated forms. Like I just had no updated forms for basically my entire time working at Dot. And no one asked me questions because I always took care of shit. So like when
Yep.
I think it was it might have been Brandon during one of our
Mhm.
SEO meetings asked me
Yes.
like, how are you like submitting this stuff? Like, can you show me your backend? And I was like, what backend? I just had the same like Google Doc form
What
that I would just
backend is
copy.
crazy.
I would just make a copy of it and rename it every month.
I mean, peek under the hood. It's kind of what I'm doing with my current job. I make a copy of my invoice. I change the dates in the month, and I change the number on the invoice, and I send it, and it works. They got no problems with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Is what it is.
yeah, that was a whole mess and a half. I don't know. That but yeah, back to like the review stuff. Yeah, we don't really ask for codes that much anymore because most of
Sure.
the time, if I'm gonna get a game, I want to support the developer,
Yeah.
especially now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm like specifically doing something for that. But yeah, and then to wrap up our like general catch up here, yeah, I've basically just been I haven't really been playing much. I've been reading a lot the last like week, so I played a little bit of. I'm like a couple hours into Cairn, which is really good.
Mm. Yeah, it looks really
Uh,
good.
Romeo's a Dead Man I bought, which I am so excited to just binge that at some point soon. Love Suda. Trying to think of what else. I want to finish Demon School. I need to start Star Wars Outlaws so we can talk about that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot else on my list right now. They just today shadow dropped a Switch 2 update for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition,
Mm.
which I never
Okay.
finished that on Switch. I've never finished the Definitive Edition because that game is very long and grindy. As much as I love Xenoblade, that's not technically the same thing as the regular Xenoblade, so it's a big grind MMO style thing. So I'll probably go back and finish that at
Well,
some point.
well, it is Steam Horsefest now through February 23rd, Kale. Can I interest you in some Uma Musume?
I haven't booted that game up since it came to Steam. I wanted to get
Well,
really
there's
into that because I like that game, but I just can't. Whenever I so one of the other games I'm playing right now because one of my friends wants to do in-game content for it is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is a game that I covered for Dot back when it came
mm,
out. That was like one of the last games I did full coverage for Dot. Um, and it's like a action like MMO, like you're fighting like you're going through maps and it's like an action game with like MMO style like uh it's like a mix of an action RPG and like MMO style combat and
mhm.
boss fights and stuff. So it's really fun. I like Grand Blue. So I've been playing through that again because my save file got deleted or something. I haven't played it since launch, so it's somewhere in the ether. So I've been playing that, but because there's a DLC coming out this summer, which is dope. But yeah, that's the only other thing because I but that reason I brought that up is because Grand Blue Fantasy or whatever, Grand Blue Fantasy Online or whatever is a gotcha. So I just can't get into gotcha games for whatever reason anymore.
I while you're talking, I quickly wanted to see what my I just want to make sure my .esports profile was still up and active, and it is. And I noticed it. So usually at the top of my profile when I check on it, usually it's like some guide that I used to do that's been updated, and it has a more recent date. Um, Now it's a news article that I actually is a rare Counter Strike scoop I had. This is when I reported that Olaf Meister was returning to the starting roster for FaZe Clan. This is because Twist told me in an interview and it hadn't been reported yet, and I was like, after the interview, I was like, "Hey, can I tell people that?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Cool." um, this was from 2021, by the way.
Yeah.
It now has an active date of February 14, 2026. And after the original paragraph, there's an editor's note for 2026. This article was originally published in June 2021 ahead of the Blast Premier 2021 Spring Finals. We've updated it to reflect FaZe Clan's journey since the addition of Olaf Meister, their incredible major win. I think that's supposed to be incredible. The numerous finals they made in early CS2 and the roster's current standing in the competitive CS2 landscape. So after and then it goes to my original copy, then it's an H2. What happened to FaZe after Olaf signing in 2021? And then it's got like a big 5-paragraph section about what's FaZe been up to. And then it's where is FaZe Clan in 2026? Um, uh, I don't know how to feel about this. This
So
is
they just
strange.
nuked your article.
No, they didn't nuke it. They added like a whole two whole other sections of like, oh, what's happened since this original article. So now it's Scott Robertson and Arnav, who I don't think I ever had the pleasure of meeting. Well, I guess there's more. Who seems like he does a lot of Counter Strike for them
Hey.
now. I agree. I don't like Maddox. I agree. I don't like what's happening to my articles.
Yeah, I just went and looked at
Um,
mine, and it's a bunch of Pokemon stuff that has gotten updated over the last like.
I was just yeah, because like I said, I'm used to like old guides and stuff being updated. I was like, why is this news article being updated? And it's
Well,
like, were people visiting it and they felt like they had to? I just I don't get this. I don't understand. Maybe in 2026, Olaf Meister was inducted into HLTV's Hall of Fame, created in partnership with esports bet maker 1xBet, and then it also has a link to .esports section on betting.
hey, look,
Maybe
hey,
maybe that's what maybe like the people that they were like, hey, we're trying to get the betting section up. Maybe we can fluff up some
oh,
more
that's been
stuff
up.
with links to
That's been
betting
up for a
section.
while. I went and looked.
Hmm.
I went and downloaded a bunch of my old reviews and like features and stuff, and it
Mhm.
was yeah, the betting stuff has been there for a while. That's why I was like, I was doing some cross referencing stuff to see if it was like AI written because some of the writers didn't really seem like they were real.
The so .esports.com/betting leads to an article about best betting sites in 2025, but then the betting category is .esports.com/betting dash category. This seems
Well,
like a
go look at
mess.
the about page and tell me if it looks like it's been updated since we got fired.
I think I've yeah, no. Well, first off, Jerome is still here, and
Yeah,
we know for a fact that Jerome is not still there.
it hasn't been
Brigitte
updated
and
since the main team left for the escape or for
yeah,
Destructoid when it was still under gamers.
I know Brigitte and Surav are still
Yes,
there, and they actually do they still
the
do
people that are
they
at
still do good
Dot
work.
doing esports reporting are doing good
Are
work.
they're actually doing some pretty good, some of the best work I've seen in a few years since we've been gone. Um,
Yep.
they've actually yeah. So, but it's just like like I said with the what I just saw in my article, very strange. It's a weird the industry as a whole, not just media, is in a weird
Hey, at
spot
least
right
your
now.
article's still up.
Yeah, I keep telling myself it's like I gotta go through and I gotta like actually archive
I've got
these. Like I have
7,000 plus articles. I'm not doing that shit.
I know, like I mean, I don't mean archiving every single one. Like I'm not
I
going
did
through
I
every
did my
single
reviews
fucking.
after
I'm
Sports
not going through
Illustrated.
every Baldur's Gate or games or Gray Zone Warfare guide I wrote. I'm not
Well, it's one of those
archiving
things where
those.
it's like if it's an important article, I have it backed up in my drive as if I
Yeah,
have I have the full article
sure.
written just without like unless it's a feature, then it's edited in the drive before it gets shoved out. But um, I have those backed up already, which is why I still have some of my bigger stuff from Esports Illustrated. But I went back and took the print screen of a bunch of the .esports articles that I'm really proud of over the years. Basically, like the couple days after I found out Sports Illustrated just nuked Esports Illustrated because
Yeah.
if just a heads up, if you want to keep having relationships with writers and be treated like a serious publication, which Sports Illustrated is not treated as a serious publication in sports a lot of the time, outside of like the name recognition,
Mhm.
uh, then you gotta give people heads up before you do shit like that. Like I found out the Friday, I was sitting at Desmond's house, our buddy Desmond's house, his apartment, helping him build a shelf or something and playing in cards. When I found out that Esports Illustrated was not going to be publishing anything after that day because it was a Friday, so I got 30 minutes heads up basically that none of the stuff that I worked on that week was getting published. No communication from the editor. I still haven't heard from Trent since that
Mhm.
got taken down, which is not his fault because he got let go too. So I don't
Yeah,
blame him.
for
I'm
sure.
just saying it would have been nice to hear from the editor I worked with for a year at all, given it.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just a shitty like there's no good way for that stuff to happen, but the way people have been let go and the way sites have just been nuked or not taken down. A lot of places don't get taken down or just completely nuked. Like that's why it was the Esports Illustrated one was so shocking. It is like you're basically just saying your work didn't mean anything. I mean, that's how I felt when I got let go by Dot. Was I mean, to be fair, I knew that was coming for like me, you, Jess,
Yeah.
everybody that we talk to frequently
Yeah.
at that time in like various discords or whatever, we all knew it was coming. We all knew,
Yeah.
most of us were, the axe was like hanging over our
Mhm.
heads for basically since the end of 2014 or 2013. So like
2013.
because 2014 is when we got let go, wasn't it? Or was it 2015? Am I stupid?
2014 or 2024?
2024. I'm stupid.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna
Look,
say
hey,
like,
time is
has
a
it,
flat circle.
I was like,
Hey,
has it been 12 years?
Scott, we've been doing this podcast for 12 years.
And we still don't have a Patreon.
We don't have a Patreon. We've never had a sponsor, dude. That's the glory of
Ah!
no, Scott. That's the glory of the time sphere. We're stuck at like 15
Oh
subscribers
yeah,
and
damn
10
it.
concurrent viewers for all time.
Ugh.
We will never grow. We will never escape the loop.
God darn it.
Look, games media is in a terrible place right now.
Mm-hmm.
Please support anybody you like doing things, whether it's content
Yeah.
creator or written, because like even you don't even have to like monetarily support them. Like if you can, then please do.
Yes.
But if you're just like just read articles, share articles, tell the writers that hey, you like their work. Like if you just spend like it doesn't even have to be like a comment on this video specifically, but if you respond to someone sharing something that they wrote or posted or did, whether it's in a comment, whether it's on social media, whether it's whatever, you will make their day. Because the amount of people that do that is so small, especially in games media, that like they will carry that for at least a day, if not more. That they'll feel good about it.
Particularly when it comes to like people on YouTube you want to support, I recently got an offer for 2 free months of YouTube Premium, which I never had before. I don't think I'm ever going back to not having YouTube Premium. Just having the ability to not and if you're wondering, yes, like video creators still get revenue.
They get more
from
YouTube Premium.
Yes.
Gives creators, if you watch their video with a YouTube Premium, it gives them like I think it's 5 times the amount
Yeah.
that just a normal viewer does whenever
Yeah.
because you're paying premium and they count that as a premium view on top of everything else. So the metrics still count. So they're still getting paid out more.
Yeah. It is, yeah, so I have it for I have an individual membership for 2 months, completely free. And then after that's going to be $13.99 a month. With the amount of YouTube I watch, I think that's totally worth it.
It is, especially if you want to start, because you also get like YouTube Music. You can download videos.
Yeah, YouTube Music, that's huge.
When I had it, when I was switching around from Spotify to find another service I like for music, I used it quite a bit. I had YouTube Premium for a while, and I used that feature quite a bit when I was working out. I would listen to YouTube videos because you could have it closed. You could close your phone.
Yes, that's huge. But being able to like have the phone off, so like if I'm watching like a Giant Bombcast,
Exactly.
or like an Astro Goblin video where it's like a long one, or like any long video where it's just talking, or essentially any podcast that they just have a video for, just being able to do that is super useful. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going back, because just like and also like because I watch so many live esports through YouTube when I can. Because God, Twitch is just fucking awful for ads. I mean, YouTube's not great either, but Twitch live stream ads, like especially when I'm trying to watch like a competition, is so frustrating. So if there's something on YouTube, I was even before premium, I was already preferring to watch YouTube because you could pause and the ads were like a little less offensive, or just not like offensive as in like the content, but offensive as just how many of them and how obscene they are.
I always watch it on YouTube. I always watch it on YouTube if I had the chance, because of the scrub. If I needed to go catch a play or something for like work, back when we did it. Dota would always be my most watched game on Twitch, purely because of like the international and like Dota events. Hasn't been my most watched game on Twitch in 2 years, purely because I watch the international and all the Dota tournaments on YouTube now. Like it's just better.
KO, we have some breaking basketball news.
Oh, what happened?
Commissioner Adam Silver has informed the league's 30 general managers on Thursday that the NBA plans to make anti-tanking rule changes for next season, Stakeholders have intensified dialogue about combating tanking. Multiple sources of Thursday's meeting, as well as a late January competition committee meeting, first told ESPN the following concepts have been discussed to curb tanking. First round picks can be protected from only top 4 or top
Lottery.
14
Yeah.
plus. Yep. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date. So like that's a good one. So like you can't like just sell off a bunch of players and then tank the second half of the season. Like you have to be committed to the tank as the season begins. No, these are just being considered. No longer allowing a team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes.
Probably the latter there.
Teams can't pick top 4 the year after making conference finals. So you can't do like, I mean, that's an interesting one.
That's going to be a weird one. There's going to have to be a caveat where it's like if you have another team's pick.
Yeah, and that's like that one. I feel like it's a little bit unfair, just because like, let's say you're like the Pacers or the
Celtics, the Pacers this year. What is that? That
you're
sucks.
a really good team, but then everyone just gets injured. Like, what do you like? There's only so much you can do. Like, you're just like you don't have Halliburton. Like they traded Turner. They've had got so many other injury issues. It's
well,
like,
so here's the thing.
Again,
like
just being considered, but
yeah, like all those sound fair. The lottery odds freezing at the trade deadline is a weird one. I don't know what they're going to do there. I like I think the protect top 4 or lottery and that's it is good.
Some other considerations: lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records, so not just single season. Lottery extended to include all play-in teams, and finally, one consideration: flatten odds for all lottery teams. Everyone in the lottery gets.
That's dumb. They're not going to do that one. I think the easiest one is find a way to try and curb it during the regular season. So maybe the odds thing at the trade deadline is a good way to like.
I think that's a good one.
I think that's interesting. I don't like the conference finals one, especially if that applies to
I don't
picks. Like that's like saying, oh, the Thunder, and this is not being a homer because I just like basketball. But if the Thunder get a top 4 pick this year after winning the finals, but that top 4 pick is from another team that they made a trade with, why do they get penalized?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. If it's their pick, that one doesn't make any sense for either way you do it, because either you make a smart trade or luck into a good pick and then you get punished for being good, or you get punished for being good and then get punished even though your team's hurt or whatever. That doesn't make any sense.
There's really the only realistic scenario that isn't egregious tanking, where a team that makes the conference finals is then picking in the top 4, would be if they just get absolutely ravaged by injuries. Because otherwise, unless like there's some weird contract scenario where like all your stars are up for contract and they all leave, I don't know. I'm glad they're addressing it, but like this is.
I think the mid season, like the trade one is fine. The trade deadline one is fine. I think the lottery or your picks can only be protected top 4 or lottery, no in between. I think that's good. So you can't do like top 8 and then like it carries over. I think they need to figure that out. And then I think flattening the odds for everybody's weird, because that'll just end up being like, okay, so team that barely misses the playoffs, or if they expand it to the play-in and do that, team that gets into the play-in somehow ends up with point, like what is it going to be if it's 14 and then an extra 4 or an extra 2 on each side, so it's going to be 18 teams in the lottery, and they're all going to get like 5%, like that. That's just going to that is legitimately just going to be like lottery in the most general sense.
You know what? You know who's the happiest about this? The Chicago Bulls front office. Now we can be mediocre and still have a chance at a number 1 pick. Hey. This is great for us.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so bad.
Hey, Scott, you know what that means? You can next year when they're free agents or whatever, except for Zach LaVine, you could trade for Zach LaVine back and then sign Vooch, sign DeRozan, and sign Lonzo Ball, and there you go. You can run it back for another year.
Yes. I'm sure. Yeah, Demar at what 38 is gonna. How old is he at this point?
He's still the
It's gonna
best out
be
of that
great.
group. It's him and Vooch. Would you rather
I
have?
well, I don't want Vooch anymore. Listen, I love Vooch when he was here. He didn't get hurt. He was
He
mostly
played.
consistent.
Yeah, he played
He
good.
played. He played basketball. That's what I can say about Bucci Mane. He definitely played. It's crazy that Demar has the best game, but he's got like a game that ages well. He's like a Joe Johnson.
If
Like Joe
Levine
Johnson
wasn't
could just
hurt all the time, he would have the best game out of that
yeah.
group because he's also still the
Lon,
youngest outside of
I would also
Lonzo.
say yeah, Lonzo. I'd say Lonzo if he didn't get hurt all the
Yeah,
time.
but would you rather,
Would have
if you're talking about who would you rather have on your team at any given night, would you rather have Lonzo Ball or Zach LaVine at the peak of their powers?
dead ass. I would rather have Lonzo Ball.
That's
I
fair.
think his playmaking. I think what he does for a team. I think Levine's a better scorer, but
I think
what
Lonzo also
does for a
tries
team,
harder on defense when he's healthy.
and
So
and when he's facilitating the offense. I mean, think about it. When that first exciting group of Bulls came together, it was Lonzo, it was DeMar, it was Caruso, it was Levine, and we were like the first seed after the first 3-4 months of the season. And then as soon as Lonzo got hurt, it all fell apart. That's how we had all these really good players, but when Lonzo went down, it kind of fell to shit. Yeah, I think this is just the Bill Simmons podcast now. I think
yeah, we're talking about basketball now.
I think the last thing I'll say about this, I think Adam Silver needs to nail this because he hasn't really had a big win in a while. I think he had a lot of good like positive like good energy or like I forget the word I'm looking for, but like he's had a
lot of good like
press.
small wins, good like
He
wins that have
came in
stabilized
right away.
things.
He came in right away and had the Donald Sterling thing. And he did the right thing, but it's kind of like the obvious thing to do in hindsight. It's like, yeah, like get rid of this. Like this guy's very like clearly recorded saying, I don't like black people in my games. It's like, yeah, this is easy. You can get rid of him. You can just ban him for life. Easy win on his way in. And like really like the All-Star game has had its issues. This past one was good, but that's just because like Wemby and Anthony Edwards just decided to try. And then everyone else was like, oh, we're trying. Okay. And then like I'm not even going to give that to Silver as a win. That's because Wemby is a mentality monster who went to go train with the monks and is not. I'm just gonna be a Spurs fan. Fuck it, I don't care. Like this guy is the coolest guy I've ever seen.
No, literally, no one's gonna blame you for just leaving the Bulls at this point.
Yeah, and people be like, oh, you're just gonna go root for Wemby. It's like, yeah, he rules. Like this guy, like no one like. But you're right. No one would blame you for leaving the Bulls. Like I know some people are like, oh, you have to stick by your team. It's like I've stuck by so many of my teams.
No, if you're a Bulls fan or like a Kings fan, I would not. No one's gonna blame you for. You can bandwagon whoever you want.
Kings fans should be given like a relief package. Like they should get a stipend for leaving their franchise. Like if you declare that you're leaving the Kings fandom, you should get like an NBA.com voucher and be able to like $100 voucher and buy any jersey from any team you want. Like because you've just been in hell.
Trade in any post 2005 Kings jersey, get a jersey for free.
Yeah, if you've got a Kings Belica jersey, you can.
If you have a Belica jersey for the Kings, you get a gold ticket. And you get to go to the NBA Finals.
You can just in the owner's box in any team you want.
You're the new GM. Congratulations.
but you don't have to GM the Kings.
No, they have to GM the Kings. You. That's the trade-off.
Oh, that's not a reward. That's a prison sentence.
Well, they signed up for it for being a Kings fan.
No, we're trying to save them, Kale.
Hey, speaking of saving things.
Oh yeah, okay. I was wondering how we were gonna pull this.
Look,
hey, listen. Hey, what's most important thing about basketball? The transition game. So now,
well, you know who has a terrible transition game?
The Bulls.
You know who has a worse transition game than the Bulls over the last 5 years? Yeah, Sony. Because dear Lord,
we got there.
There's the PlayStation 5 got no games. Like the amount, like if I want to see the statistics of first party support for consoles from like PS3 to PS5 through the years we have now. and see like the rate that like the rate of big releases, like big title releases, because the PlayStation 5 by far has the least in terms of like what I can remember. Like they have,
Yeah.
it's not that the
They've got
PS5
a lot of
doesn't have games.
the ones they release, high quality,
Yes,
good game, no
but they
doubt.
release so
But
few and far between, and some of those are still PS4 games, or they were at the start. So, like, anyways, the reason we're bringing this up obviously is like the big news that broke like today that we're recording this, and then it's going to be talked about for the next 2 weeks, is Sony officially shutting down Bluepoint Studios. Which Bluepoint, if you don't know who Bluepoint was, they are a studio best known for doing a bunch of different like really well done HD collections or remakes of games, specifically on the side of Sony. A lot of these were Sony either games associated with PlayStation or PlayStation, like working on PlayStation games specifically. So the studio itself was founded in 2006, and they got bought by Sony in 2021. And between that period, they did the God of War collection on PS3, they did Ico Shadow Colossus collection on PS3, they did the Metal Gear Solid HD collection on PS3 and Xbox, they did Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection, Gravity Rush Remastered, Shadow of the Colossus remake or remastered, and Demon Souls remaster. Those are their big games. They also were a support studio almost exclusively for Sony. So they basically worked with Sony on all but the Metal Gear collection out of that group. And then they were support studio on Titanfall for the Xbox 360 version specifically, I think.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, so like that port was their work. And then
they co-developed God of War Ragnarok with
yes, they did additional. It's listed as additional work on Ragnarok. They did Flower, which was a Sony published game, and then PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale was another one they did work on. So that was mostly just ports for those two. The point being, they basically worked exclusively with Sony. Sony bought them in 2021. That's after the Demon Souls remake, which was a launch of the launch title for the PlayStation 5, and was the only PS5 exclusive title for a good chunk of time for the PS5. They have not released a game since. They were working on a God of War live service game. They got canned early last year. According to reports, they were pitching around this year to try and get something off the ground to work on something else. And then now they're getting canned. 70 plus people. Yeah. What this means is, regardless of how good your track record, which is, this is not just them, this is proven across games industry right now. Regardless of proven track record, regardless of what your bosses say, and regardless of the project you're working on, if you are not releasing a game that is successful every time you release a game, there's a above 50% chance the entire studio is going to get canned, no matter what. If you don't release a game or it gets canceled, there's an above 50% chance you're going to get canned. Yeah. That's where we're at right now in this industry.
I can't believe, and so I've seen this, and this is kind of why I like Blue Sky over Twitter now, because Twitter, I briefly checked again today because I've been doing much less of it.
I don't
hardly ever mention it. Mostly it's just like most of my feed is just garbage. But Blue Sky, obviously, everyone in the games media was talking about this, and a big thing I was seeing over and over was, it's like, with how much IP is attached to PlayStation and Sony that they have access to, that they can't find anything for this studio to do.
Well, so that's the whole point. With so when they got bought, they were working. It was rumored, and there were comments that they were working on an original IP or original thing.
Yeah.
So when
I'm sure they've been wanting to do for
exactly. So when from 2021, before 2021, since they wrapped Demon Souls, to now, when did the original thing get canned or put on the shelf for whatever ended up being this God of War project that didn't get put off the line? Why would Sony put a studio that's known for high quality remakes that have almost all succeeded?
Yeah,
like everything I listed off. God of War collection, I don't know how well the PS3 stuff sold, but I have the Ico Shadow of the Colossus collection. That's a pretty decent collection. Metal Gear Solid HD collection's good. Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection's good. Gravity Rush Remastered, I love. Shadow of the Colossus remake is amazing,
Remake.
and
Yep.
Demon Souls is I've heard good things for a game that's flawed. So
Yeah. I
the
mean,
point,
Metacritic 92 out of 100, OpenCritic 99%
yeah,
recommended for Demon Souls.
it's
Shadow of the Colossus remake also in the 90s.
it's
Yeah.
exactly, so they have all these hits, and they released those within 2 years of each other. The last two we mentioned there.
Yep. Yep.
How, and they helped work on God of War Ragnarok. So how
Yes.
on earth? This is the same thing we talked about with the Anthem situation a couple when we did the last a couple episodes ago, where it's like when that was announced that BioWare was making Anthem, that was announced relatively at the same time that it was announced that was it who made Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Was Respawn?
Respawn, yes.
What? Why is Respawn working on a single player Star Wars game, while BioWare is working on a live service
Yeah.
game? Why? It ended up being because they will, not because of EA, but it's because of what the studios wanted to do, and just like how it ended up working out. But this is a similar situation. How?
And to their credit, Respawn has done a great job with those Jedi games.
Yeah, and Anthem, for all its flaws, was still, for a first time.
There was a good game underneath.
If Anthem 2.0 was launched as planned, or whatever,
that would have done well.
I think they could have salvaged the game.
Yeah.
However, this situation, much like that, is how do you mismanage a studio so poorly that is known for this thing, that has done critically acclaimed things in this space, that can do multiple of these things, like they can work on a game and work as a support studio. How do you mismanage them so poorly to the point where you're like, God of War live service game, let's do it with this studio specifically, even though they have experience working on God of War, clearly. How is that the call? And then how do you not have a backup pivot to where then you have to close a critically acclaimed studio?
Yeah, I still feel like we're not even done seeing the fallout from Sony's insane push toward like a dozen live service games. I remember one point
mobile a dozen.
Something I wrote for Dot actually was like all the live service games that Sony is working on.
Let's lay this out. I want, this is going to quantify this a lot. So obviously the original report came from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, but this is Stephen Dottillo, who is over doing the game file. Since 2021, Sony has acquired Nixxes, which is fine still, Firesprite, layoffs in 2024, Bluepoint, closed 2026, Valkyrie Entertainment, this was 2022, Valkyrie Entertainment, Haven Studios working on a live service game that we have not seen in 2 years now, that probably won't come out, or if it does, it's probably not going to do well. Bungie, acquired 2022, layoffs in 2024, obviously Marathon's coming out soon. Neon Koi, closed in 2024. 2023, Firewalk, closed in 2024, and then they also acquired Housemarque in 2021, and obviously they're making
Soros,
yeah. So
yeah, because they did Returnal, and
this is all just since the pandemic. So 3 full studio closures.
Yep. And one of those including, I don't even think arguably, definitively the biggest like bust in terms of like a live service game release in history.
Yeah. And then 2 huge layoffs for 2 other studios, including Bungie, which was multiple rounds of layoffs.
Yes, multiple rounds. Yeah.
And people don't understand what this means. So I was having a talk with people that are aware of games industry news and keep up with it, so they're knowledgeable of it. But I didn't want, whenever I talk to friends, especially that are gaming into games and are like into it enough to keep up with like business stuff too, I have to temper myself from just like over explaining, essentially, like going into something that I would write in an article, or just like using my, hey, Scott and I are talking about this and going into the weeds, the inside of baseball. People don't understand that even if Bluepoint, so when Tango Gameworks got bought by Krafton after Microsoft closed it, right? Tango not only is a very valuable Japanese studio, but also they had IP that was pretty easy to retain, like without Tango, those IP probably weren't going to do anything, so Microsoft was willing to sell the IP to. Blue Point doesn't have that. So
Right.
even if Blue Point does somehow get salvaged, whether it's a new studio keeping some of the talent or someone swoops in to snap up all the talent and create basically Blue Point 2.0 or somehow keeps the studio afloat through a deal with Sony.
Yeah. And for talent people specifically, a lot of times when layoffs like this happen in like under a big publisher, if there are openings in other studios, they usually get first priority. Obviously not all of them, which is sad, and that, you know, and obviously it's not a great, not a super strong industry outlook, but and I would imagine at least some will hopefully find
They will.
some work
But
within Sony.
that also means even if the studio survives, it's a minimum of a year setback.
Yeah.
And that's if they have a project. Because then you have to adjust to a new work environment. Because when a game gets canceled, it's not just, oh, that project gets canceled. It's, okay, who's getting moved to what? How are we shifting around? Like, there's so many internal components that have to, even if just a project internally gets canceled and you're still around at that same studio. If a studio has to reform, or if you're making a new studio, or if you have a project that you want to get funded, it's an entirely different ball game that sets you back at minimum of a year, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just it's frustrating. It's the and like it's just the reaction amongst games media is just universal. Like everyone disliked that.
It's just
like
mismanagement. It's clearly
yeah.
It's the epitome of Sony continues to mismanage studios. And even the successful studios are somewhat being mismanaged at different levels.
Yeah,
like we talked about it a couple weeks like a couple months ago about like how friggin' Naughty Dog is doing crunch again, even though they had crunch culture cancellation team come in, but now all those people are gone, so crunch is back because they can't hit their deadlines. We're just
it feels like the top studios, the ones that are succeeding, are not really doing it because of Sony. I mean, like I'm not saying like I'm not saying like Sony is completely helpless or like completely clueless, but like
no, because it's everybody. It's all the biggest. Like it's Capcom. Monster Hunter Wilds didn't sell as well for a number of reasons. It was not like it sold incredibly well, but not what they were kind of geared for based on what they thought might happen. Even though it still was like a top 10 game last year, but like Microsoft with Call of Duty this last year.
Yeah.
With obviously
that was you could see that coming from years away.
Yeah, but some of these you do see coming is the issue.
The big Call of Duty crash was coming, and it finally happened.
But it's not even just those. It's like Nintendo has some. Obviously, like Metroid Prime apparently didn't even sell 1 million units through December.
Sure.
So like that's a big. It's not like the biggest loss, but it's like that's something that's notable. We're sitting at a point here where I have more friends that are talking to me about indie games or games that they hear about randomly on social media or through a content creator or just browsing on Steam than I hear them talking about like a bunch of big upcoming releases, because much easier to get people to buy a smaller game or play games that are multiplayer that are cheaper. A lot of those games have more dedicated support and more open communication, and it feels better to support a small team than it does a giant corporation a lot of times. But I have it listed here where it's just like the age of consolidation and chasing endless growth. This is just like a capitalism thing, but also specifically in like games industry and media. Consolidation is never good. If the only time consolidation is good is if a company is working, so we'll talk about state of play a little bit later. Say Konami ends up purchasing or acquiring or teaming up permanently with the Dead Cells team that is making the new Castlevania. That is a partnership that if that is what they are going to do and they are the new Castlevania studio, that is 100% fine. That would be a win for both sides because you're getting a high quality.
I wouldn't even call that consolidation. I just call that
but
a good partnership.
in the terms of what we're talking about here, it is consolidation. because they are going to essentially purchase the studio.
Oh,
Or
you're saying Konami, if Konami acquires them.
yeah, if they acquire them or if they get they basically get like contract with them to exclusively develop for Konami. Either one. That is an industry consolidation in a way. Either one.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. Anybody that said that was a good thing to happen at any point during that acquisition, if you heard people say that this is going to be a good thing for the industry, those people were being optimistic to a blindly optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
When companies like that happen, not only are there going to be layoffs initially once the deal closes because there's friction across every single area of leadership that you have to you don't need multiple studio heads or multiple people running the same positions. You don't need multiple HR teams. You don't need this. You don't need that. There's already going to be layoffs and friction. And then you have the fact that you're working for a giant corporation under a new management, doesn't understand how certain things work.
And now that corporation is now worried about your bottom line and your profitability
in a completely different way.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously, if you were already at Activision Blizzard before that, you were already like, that is like saying you're actively like monitoring if you're a higher up. Now you've got someone above the higher ups also monitoring it and also have their own concerns. And it's just like, yeah, it leads to so much like it mismanagement is inevitable, and that's not like us bashing on like publishers of these companies.
You can't bat 100. You can't bat 100 at all times.
Correct.
Some studios are better at it. Exactly what you're getting at. Like, so if you compare Nintendo's batting average to like Microsoft's batting average, Nintendo's is going to be higher because of how they run their company. Just at it, how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the consolidation element of it makes it so much worse.
Right.
Now, we haven't even seen the fallout for EA getting bought by Saudi Arabia yet. Like, that's still on the horizon, and that's going to a ton of layoffs, ton of canceled projects. We talked about Ubisoft last week and all those canceled projects and just the failure to manage things properly. It, at the highest level, mismanagement is always going to happen to a certain extent, but it feels like over the last like 10 years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse because all these companies, as video games have grown, and we saw that with like the overinvestment in the industry post-COVID, because record number highs, record number sales during COVID, because everybody was at home and everybody needed new hobbies. So a lot of people picked up video games. That has now crashed.
We're still waiting more ramifications for that. Like it feels like the only company that like has grown sustainably, like a company that like I literally like I just searched their Wikipedia page. I did Control F for the word layoffs, and not a single thing popped up. Valve. They're like the only,
because they're not chasing endless growth because they're a private company.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the benefit of that is that they also, I mean, here's the thing. They also have Steam and CS2 and
they make fuck you money just off Steam, so they can do whatever they want. And they don't have to fire people, even though they're a smaller company than a lot of these teams.
Yes.
The point being, and what I have here, chasing endless growth. All these companies are just chasing the green line go up, and if green line doesn't go up, then shareholders are pissed, and the number always has to go up, or there's going to be ramifications for it. And the number can't always go up. There's always a plateau. Instead of chasing sustainable growth and maintaining numbers that are good to great at a margin that is profitable for everybody and sustainable, they always have to chase the massive leaps, which is why Sony bought Crunchyroll, which is why Sony bought Funimation.
I forgot about that.
And then merged those two together. And that's why Crunchyroll bought Right Stuff and merged them, because Right Stuff was a competitor in the physical media market for anime. That was like their only real competition in the Western market. Bought them, consolidated, said a bunch of things about how, it's going to be perfect. We're going to use this and we're going to do that and we're going to have better. And then it didn't get better because they consolidated and now it's enshittified. The enshittification of products through consolidation is at an all-time high. We're seeing it with Discord now as Discord probably prepares to, like, there's been rumors of Discord going public forever. They have a new CEO. They have like, they're running it more like a business than a product. So everything is getting worse. They're trying to nickel and dime you for stuff. They have the store is always getting new things and pushing things to you. They're trying to do stuff to get you more involved in stuff. There's all this stuff about the ID thing that's going to be coming next month for a bunch of people in a bunch of different states. That's got a bunch of people worried. Like people are fleeing to TeamSpeak right now. Like TeamSpeak is being overloaded. Saw that people talking about that. Like TeamSpeak, Steam has a new feature. Shay was talking about that in her server today, where she's like, I think I'm going to try this because people are worried. Like, because Discord is like the epitome of, it has a purpose. It serves multiple purposes for multiple people, but because it's a business and the number must always go up, even for a private company, for as long as that's going to last, the number always has to go up, even internally, to justify its existence, instead of just being, oh, we make billions, or we make millions and millions of dollars off of Discord Nitro and the shop that we already have, because people like our product and use our product, and we can't be happy with that. So now we got to do all this and do all that and risk it all,
right?
Instead of just having a good product where people like using every day.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's not even. I mean, that's not exclusive to games or esports,
it's just
or anything. That's
business.
That's just capitalism.
Models.
That's just capitalism. People just can't help. It's like it always has to be more growth, more profit. It's like no one's ever just like because you see that with what's it called, like movies. Like unless a movie like doubles its budget, like that's considered, because like they consider like, you know, the cost of effort as well, like the time it took to make the movie.
It's the pre-production, it's the production, and then it's all the stuff that goes in after production, like the marketing and stuff that's not included in the budget. So they have to make at least essentially like 1.5 to make to break even, and then they want it double minimum.
But games are different in that they can continue, especially, you know, if you have a good popular live service game, continues to make money.
But that's why people are chasing the live service games, though. That's why, because that is an easy way to get the return on investment, because you're always going to have people paying for Battle Pass, paying for cosmetics that they like, paying for.
But there's a cap to the amount of people that are willing to like regularly spend money on these kind of games, and a lot of them are already stuck in with their current game. And of course new ones can come across and be successful. Look at Arc Raiders, great example. Look at Helldivers a year or so ago.
Here's
and then like
the
obviously
business.
you have the endemics, the Counter Strikes, the Dotas, and things like that.
That's the issue, is the endemics. So the issue, and I've heard a bunch of people way smarter than me about business talk about this, and it's something that I've talked about a lot too. When you release a live service game, you're not fighting against the games that are coming out that month. You're fighting against the endemics that have people always coming back.
Yes.
Because if you are a High Guard coming out, if you are a Deadlock, which Deadlock is in a unique space because it's a Valve game.
It's not even out yet. There's not even anything you can buy.
So, but that doesn't matter because people already trust Valve enough, because they've done this.
And it comes back to our Valve has fuck you money. They can afford to keep a game in early.
Exactly.
This closed paid pass for as long as they want. If they wanted to, they could do this for 2 more years if they really wanted.
And then they'll make money when it comes out eventually. The whole point is
because they know it will. Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to convince?
A completely different game from everyone else, so we can't keep comparing other companies to Valve, because they're literally playing a completely game from different than anyone else.
That's why you can't compare a bunch of companies to Nintendo either, because Nintendo's in their own ballpark of like what they do, because people just do Nintendo things for Nintendo reasons.
Yeah.
But if you're a High Guard, you come out, you have to pull people away from Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, Fortnite, CS2,
Apex, Siege,
any live service shooter, especially mostly free to play, but also premium. Yep. And then you also have to beat out anything new. And the amount of time people have in a day to play games, the amount of money they have to spend on those games, and the amount of attention span they're going to have for that game long term are limited.
Yes.
So there is a smaller amount of live service games that can succeed without having an inherent interest group. That's why like 2K is always going to be there, because people love basketball, people love the NBA. And they're willing to buy 2K every year because they like the product that 2K puts out for that reason. They don't go to 2K because it's a live service game. They go to 2K because it's NBA and it's basketball.
Yeah.
Same with Madden, same with whatever. So you're trying to fight the other people in your space for watch time. You're also fighting TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Netflix and all these other things that are in a similar ballpark of trying to pull. Everybody's fighting for the same 8 hours of attention span, basically, for a person every day. And there's not enough of that to go around among the video game audience for more live service games to continue popping up in the way they've been doing.
Yeah.
Well, what's Supervive?
I think
Supervive was a completely unique thing that we loved.
It had a really nice start to it, and it's just, but yeah, it's as
Peter's
much as
out.
we liked it.
No, not Peter, not Peter. Peter's out as in like
he's over there. I was like, what is he moving?
No.
Peter, Peter, P-E-T-E-R.
Yeah, Peter out as in like trail off.
No, you're right. Yeah, and it's like as much as like we like that game, we played a little bit. It's like I can't sit here and say like, oh yeah, I kept playing it until it went away. I didn't. Like a lot of people just stopped playing just because like there were other stuff I wanted to play. There's games that games like not just the endemics, like, you know, like I said earlier, I have plus 1,700 hours in Counter-Strike, and like that's even, and the amount I play regularly is far less. Like I said, I'm in a Counter-Strike Discord where you do regular 10-mans. I am easily in the bottom quarter of like total playtime amongst the people who regularly play Counter-Strike in that server. And so you've got people like that who are just like playing that game 90% of the time they play games, and then maybe they'll try other stuff once in a while, but most of these keep coming back to that. And then you've got your rivals, your Raiders, your Arc Raiders, your Helldivers, your Battlefield, your Overwatch is back, Apex Legends is still going, Rust is still kicking, Fallout 76. I'm just looking through like Steam bestsellers right now.
Just taking into account like Highguard having to go against Apex Legends and having to win that fight. Like
it's like Highguard, I guess we can talk about Highguard because
we might as well at this point.
Yeah. When we last left off, it was like it had just come out. It was very like very slow. It hadn't had a big like breakout yet. It wasn't a Concord like we told you all. It's just nothing's gonna fail spectacularly like Concord. But I mean, since then they've already had layoffs. They haven't committed to like closing the game, but but it seems like
the website's been down. There's speculation about it being mostly funded by Tencent in the background, which that's not really news. Like Tencent does this a lot. Like Tencent and a bunch of companies, especially like China, like Nexon, will just like toss money at a project that they think has potential for returns if it catches fire at the right time, and then if it loses out in investment, then whatever.
Yeah,
this happens all the time.
I think like it just, when it comes to Highguard, there just wasn't. It does feel like now you kind of have to come out strong.
Not even just strong. Highguard, we talked about it a lot. How unique Highguard was, but how muddied that uniqueness made it.
Yes,
because it didn't do one thing bad. It just didn't do two things or three things amazing.
Yeah.
So the entire time we were playing it, we were like, this is good, or this is fine, or that's annoying. But we were never like, this is bad.
Yeah.
But that is almost a death sentence in itself, because if you're trying to do too much, you have to find a way to make yourself unique to all these other games, but you also have to have a almost perfected loop for whatever that is to make it worth coming back to and attract people. Because the only reason Marvel Rivals if Marvel Rivals came out and it was not Marvel, if it was just a hero shooter, that game would not have beaten so many other live service games out. But because it was... Well,
let me ask, would it be dead if Marvel Rivals came out with it would be Paladins. I don't want to say generic. So still going, but
it would be successful enough to be around and have a dedicated base that makes it successful. But it would not be
what it is
multiple
now.
hundreds of thousands of players daily on
Yep.
PC.
Currently a number 7 bestseller.
Yeah.
It's been in the bestseller for, what's it, 63 weeks.
Yeah, like it would
Yeah.
not be that. It would not be making nearly as much money. They'd have to rely on
Mhm.
crossover stuff a lot more.
There
Uh,
would not be orgs lining up to join the esports team. Speaking of which, we were right, and that 100 Thieves and Sentinels and a bunch of orgs did come back to
yeah,
to 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 be in Marvel Rivals, which we said was going to happen as soon as they.
yeah, we'll
It
probably
just
talk about
happened.
that
They
more.
they left like weeks before NetEase announced like the partner program and the changes for 2026, and
I
then
think
they're
we'll talk
like,
about that
well,
more in
all right,
like
I guess
next week's episode or whatever week they announce when they show off the costumes, the fully show off
oh,
the
that's right. Yeah, that
because
is
they've
coming.
been
Yep.
teasing it because it's going to be like early March. So whenever that gets announced, whatever week that gets announced, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about Marvel
Mhm.
Rivals esports a little bit more. But
Yeah.
the point being,
I'll buy a any
yeah,
bundle that supports like all the teams. I'll buy that. Hell yeah.
yeah, sure.
What
But
I've done for VCT over the past few years.
we are at a point where Supervive came out, and that game was so fun and had like such a unique concept. It was different than
Mhm.
anything else in the market, but it just couldn't find its audience. We're seeing
Different,
that,
but also like it had the familiar stuff that like if you played battle
yeah,
royales, you played MOBAs, you're like, oh, I get this, I remember this.
which is why
Oh, but
Highguard
now
would.
it's in a new light.
It's the
That's what
same
Highguard
thing.
was going for. It's what they
Exactly.
were
It's like,
going
oh,
for.
you play Siege? Here you go. You play hero shooters? Here you go. You play
Yeah, I
looter
think like
shooters?
they
Here you
just
go.
tried. I think they just tried to do a little too much, and there just wasn't. It just didn't like and like I said, as much as like Supervive at least hooked you. I feel like Supervive hooked me a little better than
It did.
Highguard did.
For
And we
me.
played it.
We played for at least we played for a solid week where we were getting on like every night to play with like some of our former coworkers.
Yeah, yeah. And like we did what? One night of Highguard? I did one or two on my own.
I did too.
That was it. And that was it. It was just sort of like
They didn't even get
I
me
don't
back
really.
when they did what we said, where it's like, oh, 5v5's out. And I'm like, why would you not launch with this? Why
Yeah,
would
I
you?
just
Why would you stay?
okay.
The,
This is my biggest criticism. This is my biggest thing that I've heard in the follow up to all the Highguard stuff. This is the thing that drives me the craziest. Is on this show, because it also made me look wrong and made me look stupid. And I can't believe that I look stupid and look wrong about this. I said, I was like, there is no way that everyone at this studio thought that this game was going to come out and be a slam dunk. There's got to be at least someone who were like, hey, we should have a contingency plan. We should like not expect this to be a home run and a slam dunk and a breakout hit. And apparently, according to various reporting, I think including Jason Schreier about like the Highguard launch, they did think that. They did genuinely think this was going to be a smash hit out of launch. And I think this kind of goes to show that like this is kind of the risk of doing a shadow drop. And I know it wasn't technically a shadow drop, but that was the
it was the
plan.
plan.
They
It was
didn't
the
do
plan. Yeah.
they didn't do testing. They didn't get in the hands of press early on or do massive play tests. And they thought, and it's sort of like it's like writing and editing. It's like you write something, you're like, this is great, and then an editor gets into its hands, and the editor's like, this sucks, or it doesn't suck, like, or the editor will be like, this needs to be fixed. There's a lot of glaring issues here, and it's like that. If you're, you want something to succeed so badly, and because you made it, that it's so easy for you to look past what the glaring issues are, and because they had so much success with Apex and so much, this was the team behind Apex, this was the team behind behind Titanfall, because those were so either financially successful or critically successful or both in some cases, that they thought, oh well, now we're on our own, we're free from the shackles of EA, now we can make the game we always wanted to make, and that we left to do this. And it's a sort of like, and of course like I'm not blaming them, and I'm not like judging them for wanting to do that. I think that's great. I think it's great.
I'm not
You
judging
wanted
them for
you
that, but you know what we can judge them on? Thinking that this is the same landscape that Apex Legends came out in.
Yeah, yeah. Apex Legends came out and it got really popular right away, and then it also, and like because there was it was the battle royale scene was still a very undefined market. It was like Fortnite and like
Fortnite,
PUBG,
yeah.
and so like and so this was like, and this was kind of like, and then afterwards is when more battle royales came out, and they obviously they're kind of like this big three had been formed already. But not only did they have those great few months when Apex first came out, and then then it went right to pandemic, and then everyone was inside playing games. They're like, hey, and then it just carried that momentum through the pandemic, and
That
it's been
start
going
Apex Legends was the
pretty much
last
going
of the
strong ever
ones that
since.
weren't chasing.
Yes, and they
Because
and
after
because
that, we've entered an
they
era
did a
of
lot of
chasing
really and they did a lot of really cool things like
to
just the
differentiate it.
traversal
Yeah,
and the movement is really good. The ping system that pretty much every live service game uses now. Apex did that first, and then Fortnite took it, and then and everyone borrowed it from them. And it's just like, and it's just such a simple like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and like, and that just lowers the barrier so much for all these players who don't want to talk on mics, who don't want to chat and voice chat, and it's like, oh, I can just go here, and it's just like it's and it's just and it's obviously like if you ping an enemy, it'll be like it will say like, oh, an enemy here, like it's just like it. I guess back to our point, just like I can't believe that they were like, oh yeah, this is gonna smash, this is gonna be great. There's no way this is gonna blow up in our faces. It's like you have to like, and so I thought they would give it a longer runway, and it does seem like they are like still trying to give the game a bit of a runway, but like obviously a big portion of the staff being let go or being laid off
it probably has.
sucks
It
and
probably has
worries me
a.
about the long term future of the
Oh,
game.
there's no. I do not think there's a long term anything for this game.
Yeah,
I think
I
they have a year of content that is basically done or good enough to close enough to done that the team that they have left can get it out the door. And if this game doesn't see a massive turnaround, it's going to be dead in a year.
Yeah,
because that's what Supervive did. That's what happened to Supervive.
And they're already rushing out some of this content. Like they said, like, oh, season 2 is like they announced season 2 like a week after the game came out, or season 1. I don't know if they launched in
season
0,
2. I remember.
Yeah, and I remember being like, all right, well, they're trying to get it all out the door and just trying to do anything to like revive it or just to keep it alive.
I think that since we're still in the era of chasing this live service like golden goose.
I don't think we're in the era of chasing it anymore. I think we're in the ramifications of that era.
You say that, but we're still going to see. So
but a lot of the games that are coming, like Marathon, for example, like Marathon is a product of that chase era. And even though maybe like, and so at this point, it's like, well, we've worked so hard on this game, we put this much money into it, this much effort. Like Bungie's, reputation has kind of taken a hit. Oh, people have been laid off. People are fleeing from Destiny. It's like, we might as well get the game out the door. And to be fair, I do think Marathon's going to be good. I think Arc Raiders has kind of shown that there is a market for this kind of game. I like what they're doing with the music, the atmosphere, the voice acting, the narrative stuff. I think it's actually going to be really good. It does seem like there is a lot of positivity and optimism this game is going to be good. That being said, there is still a lot of damage that this game kind of caused, like I said, with Bungie's reputation, with people being laid off, with Destiny kind of feeling more like a backseat product, or like not getting really the attention and the from players and the devs that once was. And so and this game came as a result of that era of everyone chasing the live service game. And so I don't think we're still in that era. I think the games that are coming out soon are products of that era, where it's like, well, now we've put the work into it. We put the years of development into it.
Yeah, we can't go back now.
We can't go back now.
We have to put fallacy. It out. Woo. I mean, we saw what happened to Blue Point. Sunk cost fallacy cost them Blue Point. Because that live service God of War game, which no one would have asked for.
Yeah, why God of War, like that's like
because IP. That's what it is.
There's so many better Sony IPs. Like,
so you say that they made a Ratchet and Clank hero shooter for whatever reason, and it's mobile exclusive, and it looks bad. Developed by a company that I don't even think is developed like an actual like.
Are they doing a? Who's doing a? They're doing a Horizon one, or is it?
They're doing two Horizon ones.
Oh, that's right.
They announced the project that Guerrilla itself is working on during the weeks before State of Play, and then the guys who do Guild Wars are doing
ArenaNet.
Doing it? They're doing another one.
Okay.
Which is the one we talked about on the podcast that might have AI stuff in it.
Oh, okay.
Because but they're both like multiplayer.
I like ArenaNet and I like Guild Wars too, so I hope that.
Yeah, one of them looks like a Monster Hunter-ish thing, and the other one looks like a more cartoony Monster Hunter-ish thing. Like
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
I just don't. That I can understand. I understand how they think that would work. Why two?
yeah. That's
Why
that. Why?
two?
Why?
Even if they're different, I haven't gone through and compared them. I don't care. Horizon was fine. I've only played the first one. It's a good game. I just don't understand why you need two variations of a multiplayer Horizon game, even if they're going to be vastly different. I don't understand why there aren't. Why wasn't Blue Point working on a remake of like Sly Cooper or something?
Yeah,
Like an IP that's just been sitting there that people really like, that won't take that long to have a remake for, because it's a PS1 game that is pretty straightforward. Like you could do that much faster than these other ones. Now we're getting the God of War the trilogy remake, which is
sure.
supposedly just entering production, like
Yeah,
really early
that's
on.
gonna be a while. That's gonna be a while. Yeah.
Unless they release it in parts, then we're probably not going to see that for another 4 years minimum.
Mhm.
So that's probably a byproduct of, oh, we don't have another God of War project that we're ready to show off other than Sons of Sparta, which is a whole other thing that people are very mixed on right now. But
Yeah, yeah, because my girlfriend's been playing it, and she thinks it's great, and she likes to look at it, and she likes to play. But I see,
it's
yeah,
just
a lot
really
of people have
divisive.
been. It's been very, yeah, surprise. Which I thought was kind of surprising, but I mean, should we? Do you want to land the plane on this, and we can talk about state of
Yeah,
play
I'll
now
wrap
that,
it up just saying like,
since we talked about a couple state of play games now.
yeah, and we can save the hardware stuff for the end. The point here
Yeah.
being, like, we are at a point where it feels like no matter what, if you're not releasing a hit, your studio's toast. If you do release a hit, your studio's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what studios want anymore, and they're always going to chase the green line. If the line isn't going up, if they're not an indie studio, or if they're not like a main Nintendo release or Valve.
Mm-hmm. Or other independent studios that can just kind of
That's
do
why,
whatever
yeah,
they
just indie
want.
games in general.
Yeah,
Like if you're
like
independently doing stuff,
Alarian's a great example. Like they're not like,
they're not beholden to the same thing. But
yeah,
the point
exactly.
being,
We need to destroy the stock market is what
God,
Kale and I are saying. We need to
universal
remove,
basic income, universal health care,
yeah,
get all the stupid people out of office.
yeah.
I had a talk with like my money guy this morning, which I completely forgot about. So I got like jump scared that I thought something was wrong, but I forgot it was like the quarterly whatever, where he's
The
like,
money guy
hey,
jump scare. Yeah.
yeah, where he's like, hey, do you want to like do long-term stocks or do you want to do this? And I'm like, buddy, you are the money guy.
So what do you think's the best idea? But brother, what
Well,
am I paying you for?
he was
Those
like,
are your ideas.
do you want to like max out your input into your Roth IRA already, like now or later? Do you want to like, do you want to go long term? Do you want to go short term? Do you want to go large cap, mid cap? Do you want to like, are you do you want to do like do you want to, how much do you want to diversify? And I'm like, dude, I know, like I took finance
What?
class because I was a bit
Do I need a money guy? I need to get a money guy.
well
'Cause I don't have anyone doing this stuff for me.
well yeah, this was like I've had the same money guy since I was like my great grandma. We like moved an investment account over like when I hit of age, because when she my great grandma like basically we this is Kale lore, I guess.
Yeah.
Families from New Mexico. Great grandma opened an account for all the grandkids and great grandkids, put a little bit of money in there to start saving for college. Grandparents and whoever else wanted to put money in there just put it all over there. Once great grandma passed away, moved it over to where we're at now. So now I just have had a money guy.
Hmm.
Because
You've been grandfathered or grandmothered in.
Yes, I've been great grandma'd into having a money guy, which is the most bougie white thing you will ever hear me say. Because I did not grow. That is like,
Well, at least you said that your great grandma's from Mexico and not from like New York or
yeah,
like
no.
California.
I always joke. I told Desmond this. I can't remember if we were playing Marvel Rivals or whatever. I don't even remember if you were there for this, but no, I think you were, because they were making Black History Month jokes. Him and DJ, And I said, Desmond, do you remember our buddy Zenas from high school? And he's like, yeah, I remember Zenas. It's hard to forget that guy. And so at one point at lunch or something, he goes, Kale, you're the blackest white guy I know. And I just go, that is a very, very low bar to clear, because the old like, but it's because whenever we would talk about like struggle meals and stuff like that, because my family didn't have a lot of money growing up. Like my dad was the breadwinner, and he was started base level of firefighter, and like we mowed every summer. I went out mowing with him every summer to get money and stuff. So like did not have a lot of money growing up. So I know a bunch of like the struggle stuff around Oklahoma City, like Edmond area. That is that, and they were like, and I was like, it's just such a low bar, which that caught on with like the football team and stuff too. There was a whole year where I couldn't get away from it. I'd be sitting on the football bus going to a game, and they'd be like, no, you don't sit back there, you come sit with us.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you don't have to sit in the back of the bus anymore.
Yeah, I'm not a back of the bus guy. I get to go sit with the wide receivers. Like, bring the lineman up. Bring the lineman up here.
I just like to imagine like your yearbook. It's like most likely to succeed, like class clown, and then it's like, and then it shows your photo as the blackest white guy.
Well, so I can't remember who I was talking about with this, but the sophomore year, the last year I played football in high school, I had got braces, and then halfway through the year or halfway through the season, I got like hydraulics. So those like big like multi-piece things that like latch on to from here to here.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I had those while I was playing football, which sucked.
Yeah.
I just tried to get a mouthpiece around those. So my nickname for after I got those was Optimus, because my mouth was like mostly metal. And one time I had eaten a like a chocolate protein bar before practice, and I was running late. So I get down to practice, and I have to do bear crawls across the end zone instead of doing warm-ups. So I do bear crawls. I'm huffing and puffing because that like proteiny chocolate bar that just gets stuck in your throat a little bit after you eat it, and it's stuck in my braces. I just did bear crawls. Yeah, I just did the bear crawls. I got full pads on, so I sprint from when we're done to that to go to the offensive line warm up, like drill section or whatever. And one of our seniors, who I've known since I was a kid, I played football with him in middle school too. And he walks up to me, and he like, because I'm huffing and puffing and I'm doing the drills. He just looks at me in the face and goes, "Are you high right now?" And I'm like, "What? No, what? Like what? No, I just had to do bear crawls, and I'm choking on a protein bar." And he's like
coughing, like,
yeah, because I was trying to, because I didn't have a drink before I got down there, so I've just got like, and he's like, but instead of listening to me, he just leans his head back and goes, bam, helmet to helmet, and that did not help.
Is your brain foggy? This will help. Bang!
It's like, so he just starts cussing me out, and I'm just like, what did I do? But yeah, no, there's some Kale lore for you.
Yeah. And then he did Oklahoma drills, and that settles all scores.
Boy, we did Oklahoma drills a lot during freshman year. And we had a kid named Jack who was very, very, very big kid. Did not care how much he got hit, and if you got hit by him when it was Oklahoma drills, I mean, also to be fair, when we did that kind of stuff like sophomore year, I'm like 5'9". At that point, I was probably like 230, like a healthy lineman 230. So I'm small for a lineman. I'm getting hit by like 6'4", 6'6", 280 defensive linemen, and I have to O-line up against that. There's a reason I did not start. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, it sucks. Some guys just don't. If you don't have the size, like, there's only so much you can do. Like I I mean, I only kicked for football when I was in. So Scott War, I played soccer
Mm.
as a kid growing up, and then I got to high school and I was still playing soccer, but I was on the bench. I was doing absolutely nothing on the soccer team. And so one day, like someone from the football team came over and said they're looking for kickers. And so essentially my soccer coach sent all the bench players over to like because we weren't doing anything. And I kicked the best in the tryout, and I was just on the football team. Like, and my parents hate my mom was like, I don't want you playing football because like the head stuff and injuries and like
Yeah.
it's a violent sport, etc. And so I was like, okay, well I'm kicking. I'm not actually getting any contact. And for the rest of that season, the freshman year, I think my highlight was we had one onside recovery, which was awesome, and then at the last game they did let me go in and play safety. I played a couple defensive snaps, like goal line work too, like they were pretty much about to score, and they handed the ball off, and I went to make a tackle, and I made the tackle, and then I got kicked out of the game because he had already crossed the goal line. And then that was the end of my football career.
The one of the
Oh,
only
but it was funny. Because the freshman team was so big, I was number 7, and there was another kid who was number
yeah
7. And so when he went back into play, they're like, no, you got we kicked you out. It's like, and the coach would be like, no, he's over here, and I'm like over on the bench trying to like sheepishly wave at the referee.
the one time I remember actually getting into like a varsity football game. There was just like a bunch of injuries. Either we were losing or winning pretty bad, one of the two. And they're like, you know what? Let's get the other O lineman in there. And I'm like, this is a terrible idea. All the backup O linemen are like my size.
Yeah.
And they're taking out people that are like going to college to play. Because we played at a big Oklahoma high school football at a 5A school. So like we're playing against actual people.
You're playing against kids going to school and going to play on Saturdays next year.
So I'm playing right guard against a dude that's probably going to college to play football. And so they line up and they're like, okay, whatever the play was, our running back's going right up your ass. And I'm like, why me? This is the worst idea. I'm the smallest person on this line. Why are we doing this? And I'm like, I turned to our quarterback. I know our quarterback, his name's Warren. I turned to Warren and I'm like, if you hand this to our running back, he's going to die. Like I was like, this is not a great idea. And Warren's like, don't worry, I'm probably just gonna quarterback it the other way. And I'm like, awesome, great, do that. I'll
read option, and he's gonna look over and make a really easy read.
Yeah. So the easy read was I got my ass blown up.
Pancake.
I was on my ass within 3 seconds
of side where he like pushes him like 40 yards downfield.
He's like, where are you going? The bus. It was time for him to go home. And it's like, but it's the other way, and it's just dude that's like got a foot on me, just lays me out and just on top of me.
Oh God!
And I was like,
well, if he's on top of you, that means
no, he didn't get in the backfield, but I was on the floor.
That's a stop. We count.
Yeah, we count those.
Right, get back up. Go get him again. It's coming your way.
Boy, that was. I remember I had to pull one of the plays in like a different game. I had to pull. This was probably a JV game. We did a lineman pull for an outside block on like the edge. And that was me. I like doing pulls because I was faster than a lot of the other linemen. So pulling was great because I could get some leverage. But other than that, it was fucked. So,
you know, I got a great transition for this. You know who also is apparently a big football fan?
Who?
Todd Howard apparently plays a ton of college football 26. I believe because I think he had an interview with Greg Miller. I think he was talking to Greg about that.
They talked. He was on Gamecast.
Yes, Greg's also a big college football guy. And we saw, and so obviously Greg didn't just talk about college football. They talked about what Bethesda's doing, Elder Scrolls 6, blah, blah, blah. And so this comes to one of our stories we want to touch on is that Todd Howard, this is from Jordan Middler at VGC. Shout out Jordan. Todd Howard claims the majority of Bethesda are working on Elder Scrolls 6 and also said, don't expect Starfield 2.0 anytime soon.
Which that was the bigger news. Because people were rumoring that Starfield 2.0 was going to be this summer.
Yeah. So he asked about it. He addressed reports that new content will be coming to Starfield soon. Quote, it is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that. So for expectation setting, it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. So essentially saying, yes, we are working on new content. No, it's not Starfield 2.0. Which is disappointing because I actually did enjoy Starfield when I played it. I only stopped because there was just a big bug that would break one of the main questline quests. I couldn't get any further. I was like, well, if I can't really go any further, I guess I'm gonna stop playing. I would assume by this point that's been fixed, and if there actually is some new, like some new game plus stuff, maybe some new races, new quests, new whatever they do want to add with this next update, whatever they would add with 2.0 would be pretty exciting. But it seems like we're not getting a 2.0, which is sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna get it. It's just that it's not coming as fast as
Right.
people want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
which I actually heard people talking about it. Like, Starfield came and went like such a fart in the wind for a lot of people. Which, to be fair, like because people
the expectation for it was so high, and a lot of that is to do with Bethesda themselves setting the expectation really high because they're like, this is the most ambitious thing we've ever done. It's like, big Starfield fan back there.
Yeah, he's whining. I almost think it's the opposite of the live service thing. I think Bethesda just doesn't like Bethesda's main studios just don't know how to modernize.
Yeah.
What makes their games good. That's not saying their games aren't good because it's not like Starfield was a bad game, and it's not like people liked Fallout 4, but also Fallout 4 was what 2006 at this point, 2017. I don't even remember. 2016.
Those are two very.
Look, we've already established earlier in this episode that I can't do dates. Leave me alone.
2015 is when Fallout 4 came out.
So that's a decade ago.
That is, wow.
And they're still like Starfield still had the archaic infrastructure of a lot of what made that game that game.
Fallout 76 came out after. I feel like they kind of fell into like a decent open world live action game. Like it's still pretty like popular. It's had its like
but it took how long for that to happen is what I like after the fact.
Yeah, but we've seen so many studios could have just been
could have just killed it. Yeah,
we tried. They're like, we tried live service, it didn't work. We can just we'll kill it. We'll go back to doing what we're doing, and they kept with it, and it's still doing well. Like, and obviously it got a big help from like the Fallout show coming out, and like like it's got peaks and it's had little like player peaks during both seasons.
Yeah.
I thought they would like do some actual like big like content it, but
they no. Well, they did. The new update has the ghouls.
Yes, they did for the second. You're right. They did have the goal
for season 2. They did have a tie-in. Yeah. Okay, but here's the issue, and this is why I don't play. I do. For the record, this is coming from someone who does not like and does not play Bethesda games. I've tried 6 different Bethesda games and I've beaten none of them because they just do not vibe with me. Even though I think they're like okay to great games, I don't think they're bad. I think they're bloated. I think their systems don't learn from each other a lot of the time, especially if you're consecutively going across a franchise. And I think they are high on their own bullshit a lot of the time. And I think
because especially the older ones are, New Vegas, Fallout 3, Oblivion. Those are the ones that I like.
New Vegas is the only game is the only one I've beaten.
Skyrim I never finished, and Skyrim does feel kind of like it's very bloated, and it's a lot more shallow of an RPG that I think it's like an ocean-sized puddle. It's wide and there's a lot of space. There's not a lot of depth to it though. Like, yeah, you can go climb that mountain. What's at the top of it? No, nothing. Like, all right. Unless it's like the main quest story mountain.
Exactly. That's why I don't like. Yeah. I mean, I don't like. We've established this. A lot of people already know if they listen a lot. I do not like open world games that do not have a reason to be open world. If the game is like my favorite game franchise is Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles, massive worlds a lot of the time, especially for 3, but they have a reason to be that big. with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those are like the exceptions to my rule because they have things, especially Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of like stuff you can just go find. Well, that's not even just like side quest stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
the exploration and the areas of that game are enough to make me interested in doing the thing. But like a Skyrim doesn't. A
Yeah.
Skyrim's extra things, the things that they entice you with. So let's compare it 1-to-1 to like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. The enemies you find, not as interesting. I mean, obviously these games are years and years apart. I'm not comparing
Sure.
like the development cycles and like the tech in them. This is just like the vistas that I find, the things I encounter in those vistas, the side quests that you can do. I did not find a side quest in Skyrim for the however many times I've tried to play Skyrim, and I probably put 50 hours in Skyrim across like 4 different playthroughs, just trying to make myself want to beat it. Because it's like a bunch of my friends, it's their favorite game of all time. I did not find a reason to keep going. Versus if you put me back into Breath of the Wild, I'd have a reason to want to explore the entire map again.
It doesn't help that Skyrim's also main quest line is probably the weakest of the quest lines.
That's true too.
The Dark Thieves Guild stuff, Dark Brotherhood, Mages College, and some of the little smaller ones you just kind of come across are better, and that's why. And also like one thing that Skyrim has that like is modding potential, but then just doing like random starts and adding new quest lines, people adding like basic stuff from like little like camping equipment to like fully voiced new quest lines, new factions and characters and companion all this stuff. But again, that's kind of the community. That's not from Bethesda. We're making that, and then Bethesda then put all that stuff behind
That's like
the paywall.
That's like me saying, "Hey, I'm playing this really cool Pokemon ROM hack. I like this better than normal Pokemon games," and it's like obviously I will because it's built by people that have a specific goal in mind off of an existing thing. Like it's going to try and improve on that. But yeah. Also shout out to Bethesda because a bunch of their stuff's coming to Switch. So if you like Bethesda games, it's going to be on a lot of them are going to be on Switch soon.
We're getting near the 2-hour mark. How about we run through?
Yeah, I was just gonna
run through state of play.
I've got the GameSpot list up with like just all the stuff in order of what came out. I'll just like throw out names and we can just kind of hit on
the state of play.
Yeah, for the state of play.
Okay, let's run.
So I'll just throw out names and we'll just talk about it briefly. Kin of Scars of Cosmara. I played Bridge of Spirits. It's a good game. Clunky combat a little bit. Very beautiful. The story is good. I haven't beaten it. This looks way better. The combat looks way
great.
more fluid. Glad they're getting a sequel. This looks awesome. Excited to see what it does. It's also apparently coming out this year.
Yeah, that's great. I think same thing. My girlfriend played the original. She was really excited to see this, and it looks like a huge step up in terms of quality and yeah.
Yeah, Ghost of Yotei Legends coming out March 10th. Cool if you like multiplayer raid kind of style gameplay with the Yotei stuff or like with the Ghost of Yotei elements, then sure.
The legend stuff in Tsushima was cool. Obviously it's not going to be, but it's free DLC. So if you own the game, you can just hop right in. Yep. That's cool.
Just a reason to go back to it if you like the game. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach PC port coming March 19th. There you go. If you like that. For Loop got a new trailer. Playtest is coming at some point soon. Hey, guess what this is going to be? Another hit or miss.
I remember Giant Bomb when they were watching. They said they had similar sentiments, and it does feel like that. It's just sort of like it's like Left 4 Dead, but with more elements and some cool stuff and some roguelite elements to it. There were some cool looking abilities and enemies, and like
it doesn't look bad
aesthetically.
This trailer did look better than the last trailer.
This is what we were talking about earlier, where it's like you can't just not be bad. You have to be like better than.
How are you gonna shake up the market for this specific kind of thing?
That's really hooked.
Especially since it's gonna be a premium game. Like you're gonna have to do.
I mean, like we said with Highguard, there'll be a play test. We'll try it. We can probably get a couple guys to do a team of 4. We can try it.
Pragmata got a new trailer. little bit more story stuff, a little bit more gameplay. I'm
Looks
excited for this
cool.
one. I'm
Looks
gonna try and
cool.
play this when it comes out. Very excited.
Those like enemies they showed at the end of the trailer were like freaky looking. That
I'm
looked
excited
really
to see how
that looked
freaky
really
this game
cool.
gets.
Yeah.
Also, shout out
My,
to
my
a good thing Reddit did, banning a weird subreddit that was talking about the little girl a lot. Fucking creeps.
I mean, good for them, but also like the fact that it even exists is just like
There's a
those people should
whole thing on social media about
we
this.
should kill those people with hammers. And that's my tame opinion.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's worried that's gonna have a sad ending. She's worried that one or two of them will die.
Capcom likes doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's Capcom. It's
Hey,
totally
speaking
in
of
their
Capcom
wheelhouse.
and sad endings, Resident Evil Requiem,
Here we go.
Leon's gonna die.
Oh yeah,
That's not a
yeah,
spoiler
when they
from the
showed-
leaks.
well, yeah, they showed him in the trailer
hand.
having like the rod. It's like, yeah, that's it for a guy.
Leon's gonna die.
Cut his hand off or some nonsense.
Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered got announced March 3rd. This is the one that's I think this is the one that has a bunch of AI in it, which sucks. So, whatever. Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
This came out of nowhere. This one, I was watching this with a bunch of people in a Discord call, and people were like, "Is that Dead or Alive?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is just Dead or Alive 6. What's going on?" So they're doing a similar to what Virtua Fighter did with Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Dead or Alive 6 last round, so it's going to be a remaster, visual, whatever. I don't know how. I haven't looked into how much of a remake this is. Like, if there's going to be better netcode, which it needs to have better netcode because Dead or Alive 6 did not have good netcode. And then they announced that they're doing a new Dead or Alive. So, which is crazy because the main guy behind it just passed away late last year. Which obviously this was in the works before that.
And in his honor, they had a gratuitous lingering shot on the final character.
They showed Ryu Hayabusa and just boobs afterwards.
just it held there for a really long time. Like, yeah, we get it. She's got boobs.
To be fair, was watching it in a call with a lot of lesbians. They were really happy. That was a very funny reaction.
Hey, that's a new market for the Dead or Alive fan base to get the
get the lesbians in. Yeah, a lot of them had actually already played it, so they played Dead or Alive before. They played the volleyball version, the volleyball stuff though mostly.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Also tracks.
Also tracks.
Control Resident got a new trailer. This looks a lot like Devil May Cry. This looks like a Devil May Cry game. It looks cool.
Looks sick. I'm in.
Yeah.
Say less.
Crimson Moon, which I thought this was a different multiplayer thing that I saw earlier.
You were saying like Darksiders when it first was the trailer was starting, but I mean it looks like fun third person co-op medieval demonic.
There's a couple
melee.
of these that kind of blend together, yeah.
Yeah, so. But like it looks fun.
New Beast of Reincarnation trailer, which they are getting all this everywhere. This game is going to be good. I'm excited for this.
This is going to be a good game. It's going to be we're going to be starting our Fantasy Critic draft. It's actually technically live, but we're going to do like a rolling draft because I don't think we can get everyone together to sit down and do it. This will be I think this will be a high pick. I think this is going to go pretty early.
This game looks good. It looks like it plays good. I'm excited for it.
The developers really want to make it. They want to be free from the shackles that is Pokemon.
Yeah, which we'll hear about Pokemon next week, 2 weeks from now, something like that.
Yes.
Rayman 30th anniversary game. Okay. Sure. It's already out, but also
never played it. Don't really care.
Rayman is good. Rayman Old Rayman is mixed. Rayman Legends, Rayman Origins are fantastic games.
Okay.
Mina the Hollower got a new trailer here coming out spring 2026 after it got delayed from Halloween. Neva is getting a prologue, which surprised me. It's gonna it's also out today actually.
Yes, so, you're right. February 19th.
That is super dope. Neva is an amazing game. Jess loves that game.
It says that the base game will be required to play this new prologue.
Yeah.
It's not a new game. They're adding a prologue.
Yeah, it's a prologue to the game. It's like a lead up to how you meet.
Okay, so I was thinking like prequel in my head, but no prologue. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yako Shinobi Ops, which is like a ninja based like top down action multiplayer thing, which looked interesting.
It looked interesting. It looked it needs a little more
polish.
bit more polished. There was like the scene of them running toward the end. They were like gliding on the ground. It looked kind of weird. It's like, and it just needs a little more.
You know, it
But
doesn't
it
need more
doesn't need.
polish. Giant Chicken game,
Yeah,
which unfortunately is
this
by
looked.
Crafton. So,
It looks really sick. It looks really good.
It does. It looks really cool.
I know.
This is actually Project Windless, which is
Cock
something.
Souls. Sorry. Get it.
Project Windless they announced a while ago, which I believe is a adaptation of like a Korean novel or Chinese novel
Yes.
series.
Yes.
They announced this a while ago. I read about this for Dot like ages ago. But yeah,
it is a send the high fantasy universe of The Bird That Drinks Tears.
Yep.
Which is a classic Korean epic fantasy novel by Lee Young-do, who's often called the J.R.R. Tolkien of South Korea.
Yeah.
So that's
this was a big deal when they announced they were
high praise. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even before this got announced, I'd heard of this series, this universe before, which was a big deal when Crafton got it. So, it is ironically this is being developed by Crafton Montreal. Not one of their main studio. Well, I guess it is a main studio, but yeah. Galactic Racer's got a new trailer. Confirmed there's going to be a story mode.
The galaxy needs racing.
Yeah.
They I think we kind of knew that there was going to be a story, but we got to see some footage of it.
There's also a couple interviews after the fact that talked a little bit more about it.
There's an IGN one that I've been reading that's very good. With let's see, it is CEO and founder of Fuse Games, Matt Webster, and creative director Karen Crimmins. This is their first game. This, like they said, this is a lot of former Criterion people, the people who made Burnout, and we got to see gameplay, and we wondered how much this would look like Burnout and how much similar it'd be to Burnout. It is Burnout. It is Burnout modernized with Star Wars.
Looks sick. I'm in.
I'm in. I'm immediately in. I'm so excited for this game. I want to see like the big I want to see get the multiplayer 12 team races. My idea, if I got to do PR for this game, which if you're Fuse Studios, if you're watching, we got Story Mob, we can get some done. My idea for doing this for what I would do if I was in any way in charge of this game is I would include like a race that is like a long distance endurance race, not like a 24-hour Le Mans, that's insane, but like a half an hour to an hour long race, and I would invite a bunch of big streamers to do it, and we would have I would have the voice actor who did the two feed, I think it's
the two heads,
yeah, the two head Oni Mandrell won a Wong Bongo, and then I'm Skywalker's going off the service, and just doing with Ludwig overtakes voice critical, and they're just doing a hour long race. That's my dream. I would, if I was in charge, I would do that. But I still can't wait.
I hope they have a cool mode that's kind of like Knockout Tour from Mario Kart, where it's
great.
you eliminate people and they're out for it's like a multiple race thing.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Next is we got another trailer for 007 First Light, which comes out May 27th. And then we entered the Konami block that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Where we finally
every time they showed the venue, I went esports, because it said esports.
The Konami Esports Arena, yeah.
We made it. We made it to the
Hey, look, Yu-Gi-Oh gets played there. Bro, what other Konami game has an esport? Like the football, whatever, the football one? Power Pro Baseball? What else?
Does Konami not make any? Does Konami have any fighting games that would have that would
recently? No. Oh no.
Oh wow, nothing. Yeah, they don't have any. So yeah, what are they?
They like I said, Power Pro Baseball, the soccer one, and then Yu-Gi-Oh. My Master Duel's played there.
Top E football.
Yeah, they've got a couple of popular sports games, but they're not ones you would think of off the top of your head.
The FIFA E World Cup Challenger Series.
Look, whatever. Point is, they did this, and we're finally getting Metal Gear Solid 4 is free. It's free. Yes. The shackles have been broken. Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to be playable on multiple systems for the first time ever as part of the Master Collection Volume 2, which is going to be Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriot, uh,
and
Metal Gear Solid
Peace
Peace
Walker.
Walker, which are
Yep.
potentially like Peace Walker is a masterpiece. Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid 4 might be my favorite of the actual Metal Gears, just because I love the
Yeah.
story so much. But yeah, like my brother was super pumped because he's never played 4 before. And I'm like, I have a PS3. You could just borrow it. You live in that same house as me. Just come ask me for the PS3. I will give you it in the cords and my copy of 4.
But now his patience has been rewarded. Now he can play it on the
Yeah.
PS5.
And then also Metal Gear Solid Master Collection 1 got an update with like high-res packs and other improvements for the other games, which is dope. This collection is dope, and it's definitely worth whatever they're going to charge for it just for those 2 games that they have. I wish this was also Portable Ops, Acid 2, like the other PS. I know why it's not, because Peace Walker already has console stuff. So like it's easy to do that one versus like doing a console port of the other PSP games that haven't been ported to console. So like this is an easier thing to pair with Metal Gear Solid 4, which probably took a lot of work because of all the BS. Yeah. Maybe now we have an opportunity to potentially get Metal Gear Rising again. Which that would be an amazing HD port. That game, people, it's a meme. That game is a meme, like a historical meme game. But that legitimately, that game is amazing. Like I don't think people understand how good that game actually is from like multiple perspectives. It's awesome. So I hope that game does get to some new life at some point soon. Then we got a fun crossover with Darwin Paradox. Which I'm hyped for this game. This game looks fun.
It looks cute.
It's going to be coming out later this year. Demo is available now. There's going to be some Metal Gear Solid themed levels or crossover stuff, which is dope. And then we got the big one. This is probably outside of like Metal Gear Solid 4 coming back. A brand new Castlevania by the Dead Cells people. Not just one of the Dead Cells teams, both Dead Cells teams back together. Again, working on this game.
It looks a little bit more art style. It looks a little bit more like the Netflix series, which rules. So I'm totally okay with that. I actually haven't played any.
Castlevania.
I haven't played any Castlevania games, but I have like watched a couple seasons of the
show. Dude, you should.
Great. So
you have your PS5, right?
Yes.
Literally right now, I think the collection that has Symphony of the Night is on sale for like $5. That Symphony of the Night is one of the greatest games of all time.
May have to go get that.
I think it's Rondo of Blood.
I know it's got like an all-time soundtrack. It's got one of the best soundtracks ever made.
It's like Castlevania's soundtrack is awesome. But yeah, I think you can get Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night for like $5 right now, which is great. But yeah, no, they've re-released like every Castlevania game. The DS game's got an awesome port last year, which is sick because those games are great. I am a big Castlevania guy. I don't talk about it a lot because there's not a lot of Castlevania that's come out recently, but I love the animated stuff, and I love how they did Richter in like Richter is so good in Nocturne. But yeah, I played a lot of Castlevania, and this looks like a good Castlevania. Very excited about that. Yeah. Then we got the Silent Hill Townfall, which is the Annapurna game we knew was already coming. So it's an Annapurna worked on Silent Hill game. This is part of their we want to make a Silent Hill game every year push. This looks cool. I'm not a Silent Hill guy, but it looks interesting. Launches later this year. Then they have a new JRPG series coming out, completely original IP that I know this was a standout for a lot of people that I know that were watching this. Looks cool. Yeah. Not necessarily my cup of tea until I see more. I want to see more of it before I can be like, yeah, I'll do that on top of every other RPG I play. So, but yeah, it looks cool.
The gold falling from the sky and like trapping people. Like it gave me like slight Claire Obscure vibes in terms of like this cool like weird like fantasy disaster.
I hope it's cool. I hope it is an. Like,
I'm not a big like anime. I'm not a big like anime game guy, but like it does look like it.
Don't worry, Scott. We'll get you eventually. We'll get you on one of these.
I'm keeping my cross on.
Rev Noir is what it's called. This is still probably early in the works. They didn't even give it like a window for this one, so probably next year earliest. We got a new John Wick game coming out. This is a 3D action game with Keanu Reeves. So
had to have him in.
Looks cool.
The scenes of him like absolutely destroying people, that's me to the people who are trying to get me to play anime games. Just
Look, at some point we're gonna do like a trade. We're gonna start giving out homework on this, and I'm gonna make you play like I don't know which one. I'll make you play one of them. I'll go easy on you. I'll make you do like Chrono Trigger or something that I
Okay.
know you'll like. That's like anime light, and then I'm gonna make you do like Tales of Arise or like
No,
Skies of Arcade or Skies of Arcadia.
no, I don't know what any of these words mean, and I don't want to know. I want to play what's next on this list, which is
Marathon.
marathon. We got to see more of it, and they talked about they're doing a server slam,
Yep, next
on
week.
February 26th through March 2nd, free open preview weekend, which is like days before the actual game comes out. It feels like it's a little close
But
to do
they've
that,
already been
but
doing playtests, so
yeah. So I guess it is fine. Yeah,
this
I'll
is just
definitely be playing.
this is just them being like, we want to make sure our server load is
Yeah.
manageable. So here you
I'll
go.
I'll I'll be in this slam,
I'll
and
try it out.
this will probably be when I decide if and when. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna get this game, but this will be like the decisive time where I decide.
Oh, so this is the PlayStation Plus block.
Mhm.
So Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, the Insomniac game, is now part of the PlayStation Plus catalog
Yep.
for whatever subscribers. Cool. Tekken Dark Resurrection
Mhm.
was added to that, which
Hell yeah.
all right, was not expecting a PSP Tekken game. Cool. And then Time Crisis, the original PSP
Mhm.
version or whatever. Sure, why not?
And Big Walk later this
Oh yeah,
year,
Big
which
Walk.
looks
Yeah,
really fun.
big. Well, that's already out on PC and stuff. Like it's already out.
Yes.
This is just them getting
Yeah, but
added.
it's but
So
it's gonna be on the service later. They didn't give a
yep,
date though, but they said later this year.
yep. And then we got a new Saros trailer, which that's April 30th.
Yeah.
Comes out April 30th. Still looks dope.
This looks like sick. This looks sick. Looks like a game's gonna kick my ass. I'm a big fan of Raul Coley.
Yes, Raul Coley's dope.
Not only his movie work, but like he was always a guest on Funhouse, one of my favorite channels, and he's been on Astro Goblin as well, another one of my favorite channels. And yeah, just cool dude. Love to see him being like a game, like a protagonist and like a game from a really good studio. Eternal was really good. Housemarque does great stuff. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
this one.
Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls officially got its release date, August 6th. We also got
Mhm.
our first look of how they are going to start revealing the full 20 character roster, because we haven't
Mhm.
gotten any reveals since the initial 6. They are now doing it in teams. There's going to be 5 groups of 4, because obviously it's a 4v4, so every team can have a full roster if you
Yeah.
want to team up the X-Men. And they gave this the X-Men, the Unbreakable X-Men is what this team is called. It's Storm, which we already knew, Wolverine, which we knew was going to be in the game, Magic, who has been getting
Yep.
a renaissance and well-deserved renaissance the last several years, and then Danger, which is the physical embodiment of the Danger Room, who is also voiced by the same voice actress as Luna Snow.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
She did sound a little familiar when she was talking. Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like are all these voice actors the same ones from Rivals? Because I know Steve Bloom does Wolverine in both
I
games, and
believe Magic's voice actress is also the
Magic.
same.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Storm
tell
and
with
Magic both.
Storm. Yeah.
Magic for sure. I was like, that's definitely.
I'm
the
pretty sure,
Rivals.
well, because most of these voice actors have been used across like all of the other mobile
Yeah, for
games and
sure.
stuff.
Bloom's been doing
Well,
like
Bloom's been doing
Wolverine and
Wolverine
animated
since like
stuff.
X-Men, like Wolverine and the X-Men. It's like
Yeah,
2009.
yeah, he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
then
the last
big
two
one, the last two, a God of War trilogy.
remake, which is in development at
Hold
Santa
on, no,
Monica
God of War.
Studios.
It was the God of War trilogy. Big pause. Remake.
Remake.
Yeah, they would have held
Santa Monica
TC
Studios
Carson.
developing.
Yep.
No confirmation of anything other than TC Carson's going to be back as Kratos, which means there's going to be new voice lines, most likely. And then it is in early development, and
It's gonna be a while.
who knows when we'll see it next. So I can't remember who. Someone on the God of War team teased that you're probably going to see something else God of War this summer.
Yes, that was
But
teased recently. Yeah.
that
think
could
actually
be
didn't
a lot of
Christopher-
things.
Didn't Christopher Judge tease something?
It might have been
recently?
Judge, because it might be the show might get a tease,
But yeah, could be the show.
because they're not going to announce a new game.
Yeah, let's see.
So that's cool. I like the original God of War games are good. I'm probably not going to play these. I played the games before.
Judge says we'll hear about what he is doing in Santa Monica studio late summer, though he doesn't say if this is a new God of War game or an unrelated project. That video has already been taken down, the original video. Judge posted on X implying that the project he has in the works this summer night may not be God of War at all, but he's saying so essentially he's trying to like do a little like, oh, maybe it's not God of War, but I think it's probably God of War. He's just doing a little damage control. And yeah, last thing was the shadow drop for Sons of Sparta,
which is the 2D Metroidvania that we've heard about for
yep.
a year at this point. That everyone's
Yep.
like, it's gonna come out soon. It's done. Like it's ready. They're just waiting for a time to drop it, and then they shadow dropped it. So,
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was a good state of play. Wish they
really
didn't follow that up with Blue Point shutting down.
Yeah, it's just like, especially like, yeah, because like think about all the like, there's so many different franchises that are represented here, and there's so many that they have access to. Like you said, Sly Cooper, that's a great poll.
Sly Cooper, Infamous, that's just Sucker Punch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jack and Daxter.
Mm-hmm.
Parappa the Rappa, which I don't think is ever going to come back.
But yeah, that's I guess we'll just end it with that. It's what everyone's been saying. It's hard to believe that there's especially these classics, which are for like a studio that's shown that has their track record of putting out these classics that sell really well, that are critically reviewed really well, that they couldn't figure out something for them to do. Baffling.
Well, we're at a point now where it's like, okay, how many beloved IPs are just kind of wasting away at a bunch of these companies because they can't find a reason? So Nintendo has a bunch of these but Nintendo's also really weird about how their process of making a game goes. Like it's like the historic quotes from like a bunch of their main guys over the years have been like, if a game isn't going to massively change what it did from the previous game or give it a specific reason for it to exist, why would we do it? That's why we didn't get a new F-Zero game for the longest time, because they couldn't find a reason to do something other than what GX was. And then when we did get one, it was F-Zero 99, which was drastically different, a completely different thing. Star Fox has been different over every iteration, but a lot of people have rightfully pointed out it hasn't really reached the highs of Star Fox 64, which for a lot of people was the pinnacle.
But like these remakes that they put out, like for Shadow Colossus and for Demon Souls, it's not like they're drastically like changing things.
No, that was just Nintendo's philosophy.
Yeah,
I don't understand why Sony and Microsoft aren't just doing it out the wazoo, especially since these take less time.
They don't take as much time. They don't take as much time. They're proven to be successful. They probably cost less because you have access to so many assets. You're not like making stuff from scratch. I don't get it. It
just feels like there's not enough people. They're not going for new IP, and when they do go for new IP, it's not the ones people are going for. Like Naughty Dog with Intergalactic is gonna sell, but that's not because it's a new IP. It's because it's Naughty Dog.
Yeah. Same with I'd say like Ghost of Tsushima was also one, because like it's Sucker Punch and people still had really high.
And Sucker Punch hasn't let people down for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, now with Tsushima and Yote, those have been fucking slam dunks for Sony and for the company. And now it's like, I don't think they're quite at the Naughty Dog level, but like if Sucker Punch is like, hey, we're working on a new game, I'm like, I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm interested in it.
Yeah, it's like Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Sucker Punch. Like they have the studios to do this. In Santa Monica with God of War, like they have these studios that are doing these things. But for it's like Microsoft.
Up until the last year, Bungie or like, I mean.
But it's like, okay, hey, Microsoft, why aren't we getting a Banjo-Kazooie anything?
Yeah.
Like, it's been how many years since they've even done... Like, the last Banjo-Kazooie thing we got was Banjo and Smash. And the reception of that alone should have been like, okay, we could at least do, like, a remaster. Like, and obviously they did that with the Rare Replay, where it's, like, looks better. And it's in a collection with all these other classic Rare games. But Rare's game got canceled. Like, what is Rare doing other than supporting Sea of Thieves, which is a successful live service game? Like, if you're going to be remake heavy, why do we get the remakes of the obvious ones? Why aren't we getting the remakes of the beloved ones that would still sell well and potentially revitalize a franchise that could give you some variety in the IP that you're constantly shoving down our throats? Because I'm getting tired of remakes and remasters for games that I can still go play on the last generation or two. If I can play it on a console that I can readily plug in without any issues, then why would I care to get a remaster of it when I could play something new or something that I haven't played before? That's kind of where I'm at in my philosophy right now.
Yeah.
Because I played like God of War Greek remaster trilogy or whatever. I liked those games when I played them on PS3. Why would I play them again? They're not my favorite games of all time. If they don't drastically change what's going on in the games, I don't need to play them again when I could go play a franchise that I haven't played before.
Yeah. I mean, but also think about how, like, there's excitement for like the KOTOR remake, but now there's like even more excitement for this new one they're doing. And it's just sort of like it's but at the same time, like, getting back to Blue Point, sort of land the ship on that, it's like the remakes they did were successful. Like, it's just that's the bottom line. And that's like, and we kind of talked about them a little bit. We talked about Tango Gameworks a little bit. Gameworks did what they were asked to do, and did what Microsoft
award-winning franchise with an award-winning
Yeah.
new IP and still got shut down because of it.
Yeah. It's just
Or in spite of it, I should say.
I don't know what these publishers want.
I don't understand if a game like Shadow of the Colossus, which is considered a masterpiece back when it came out, but is acknowledged to be a flawed masterpiece modernization-wise, because the controls are kind of janky, the camera's a little off, if you go back and try and play the original, can get a remaster that fixes those issues while still carrying over exactly the body of work that made it beloved in the first place. And it sells well, and it does well, critically acclaimed, people love it, people compare it to the original in like all the good ways.
Mm-hmm.
Why not more of that? Because if we can do that, why can't, like, because there's a difference between that versus like, oh, Nintendo's porting an HD version of Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for $80 or whatever, which, like, I love those games, but I own those games. And yes, there's some changes, and yes, there's some modernization, yes, this or that, but I'm not going to run to go plug in my PS2 to play Shadow of the Colossus when I can play the PS4 version that is modernized in a way that I actually enjoy as a remake. And I've had this conversation with my buddy Will multiple times where it's like, why remakes are bad and like why remaking art and redoing art or trying to modernize art is like this like disgrace to what the old games were, because you shouldn't have to have a new version of it to be able to enjoy what was good about the original. And I agree to an extent, but we're at a point now where it's like they're shoving remakes out faster than they're putting out new things, just to fill in gaps and to try and keep the spark alive for some of these franchises between major releases, when we could be doing, I hope Konami is one of the ones that changes this shit around, because it looks like they're investing in new stuff like Darwin Paradox and the new Castlevania, like the first new Castlevania in forever. Maybe we'll actually get a new Metal Gear Solid, or a Metal Gear Solid remake that actually matters. Obviously we got Delta, but like maybe we'll get a reimagining of one, because one you need to do a lot of work for to modernize, versus 3, which is still, yeah, there's some work that needs to be done, but it's still a classic. That's not like 1990s classic. But that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to leave off, like with a comment or whatever. We're so bad about putting like a, hey, drop a comment or about whatever earlier than the ending of the show. If you've listened for this long, do something.
In this comment, I want you to take a guess on what Peter's yelling about. Oh, no, I just being nice. But it's getting near his dinner and Peter's dinner and my dinner. So it's time to say goodbye.
Yep. So thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let us know what your I guess just let us know what your thoughts on like the state of remakes and consolidation, and just like the thought of what you think that will do to the franchise and to the games that you like, because there's no good outcome from what we've been seeing so far from all of this stuff. So until next week, have a good one, enjoy some games, and hopefully you don't have to watch your NBA team tank like Scott.
Hey, equal lottery odds is what we're hoping for. We can be in the play-in and get the number 1 pick.
Yep, you get to watch your 17 guards play.
Shout out to Northwest Indiana Bears. Bye, everyone.